Wolf pack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your Week 3 Sunday show. I, of course, am the Wolf. With me, as always, on our Sunday show is my man, CJay. How we doing today, brother?
Doing good. Still high as hell off that Ohio State win last night.
You were ready to quit football last night.
It was close. I'm back in. I feel like I'm back in like the late '90s, early 2000s with this team. Actually, a good defense for like the first time in 10 years, and now the offense blows. So it's gonna be interesting. Just need to get it fixed by Penn State, and we'll be okay.
Some clutch plays down the stretch, though. I mean, that 1 4th down call, I remember texting you right after. It's like 4th and inches, and that jet sweep was just absolutely asinine from Ryan Day.
The most soft play of all time.
So horrible. So horrible. But hey, you got your win. Hopefully that positive momentum carries over so we can help all you guys win here. Sorry, my mouth is just a little full here with a cider donut. Those of you that are from this area, I don't know if cider donuts are worldwide or what, but my God, what's your opinion on cider donuts, CJay? Because I am absolutely in love.
I'm not a donut guy. I'm not a child. So
I'm not a donut guy either, but cider donuts from Goodale Orchards, they
are good.
So freaking good. I could eat 15.
I'm allergic to apples though, so that's tough for me in the fall.
I guess, yeah. Hills did her usual apple picking yesterday without me, of course. And she brought home a bunch of cider donuts, and they are so freaking good. But you guys don't care about cider donuts. You care about your sit-start questions, your Week 3 lineups, and that's also all I care about in life, too, is all your quandaries. So let's dive in this weekend, Wolfpack. As it's coming in, we got about 30 of you already here. Love to see that. If you don't mind, that thumbs up button does help us get out to more people. Early on, too, it has a bigger impact. If you come in and you like it, that would mean the world, so we can continue to grow, get out to more people. And it looks like already we got a super chat. So before we start diving into the news, let's dive into our first question of the day. A super chat. Who's that from, CJay? I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Charlie Menelakis. Has anyone checked the Giants' offense for a pulse? That may be our worst call this season so far.
So here's the deal, and why don't we, that transition just perfectly, Charlie. Thank you so much for the support. If anybody else wants to cut the line, that's a freeway, or not a freeway, but that's one way to do it. The other way is to call in, and we see our man Campanelli is already there on the call-in line. Love to see it. And speaking of Giants and Campanelli, let's dive into that fact. It was absolutely god-awful, and how am I going to be reacting to it from here? Because, yes, of course, Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, the Giants' offense in general was a big call of mine. Am I ready to jump off that one? Not quite yet. And maybe that's just going to be prolonging this abuse even longer. But they've had 3 games so far. We've got the 49ers. We got the Cowboys. Maybe the 2 best defenses in the NFL. Yes, they got demolished by them. There's no sugarcoating that. So when they're in these matchups with pretty competent defenses to the best in the league, yeah, it's probably going to be tough to trust these guys. But the only other week that we had them against any other defense, the Cardinals, maybe a bottom 10 unit, they put up 30 points, Daniel Jones. Everybody else looked phenomenal. So I'm not overly concerned. There was no Saquon Barkley. They didn't have their offensive engine there as well. There's blood in the streets right now. I actually, whether Daniel Jones gets cut and he's on your waiver wires next week, or you could toss out probably next to nothing to go get him. Darren Waller, everything about him is all completely another. And again, widely deserved this week. Darren Waller, some of those drops were horrible. I thought he was going to be the straw that stirs this drink and makes everything go, and is kind of the Stephon Diggs light to make Daniel Jones the Josh Allen light. And yeah, maybe that's going to be a little bit extreme. But again, we've already seen the 30-point ceiling, and that was pretty much all done in a half as well. So we know this offense can rack up points in bunches. I still believe in Brian Daboll. I still think Daniel Jones is okay. But yeah, this was a horrendous performance. There's no way around it. And the other thing, though, too, is were you really starting Daniel Jones in this matchup? He was my quarterback like 17, 18. I didn't want to play him this week if I didn't have to, because this did seem like maybe not this bad. Maybe they'd have a little bit more of a pulse. But ultimately, he comes out, 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, a pick. Brutal. Darren Waller was even worse, 20 yards on 3 catches, 6 targets, but a bunch of those were drops. And then the receivers. I mean, nobody on this team put up more than 32 yards. Darius leading the way. Wandale, maybe the most intriguing guy of this list, and that's probably the only real actionable takeaway here, other than maybe trying to buy low. If you are with me, and I still buy potentially a Giants rebound here, but Wandale did have 5 targets, called in 4 of them, 21 yards. And he only played, he was targeted on like 50% of the snaps he played. He only played 11 snaps and still garnered 5 targets. So I think Wan'Dale might be the only thing that comes out of this intriguing because, one, all the other receivers look like complete ass. Like Paris Campbell, 6 catches for 20 yards. What are we even on the field for at that point? So I do think Wan'Dale makes an intriguing pickup out of this game in real deep leagues. Darren Waller and Daniel Jones, I think I buy low on. Saquon might be back as early as next week, so hopefully he's clear how key of a cog he is. Maybe this helps him get a better contract after a game like this. Am I nuts to think that maybe the Giants pose a buy low opportunity following Thursday night, CJ? You're off. I can tell. You don't want it anymore.
I do have Waller everywhere, so I'm just at this point just the tight end position blows anyway, so I'm kind of just gonna roll with him until he gets hurt eventually. But no, I mean I'm not like buying low on Daniel Jones. Do you really have to buy low on him? Like he may just be available.
That's what I'm saying. He might be
Yeah, so you're not really like trading anything for him. I don't know. I do agree with your point about how they've played 2 of the best defenses in the league and looked horrific. Hopefully they get those out of the way. And now I don't know what their schedule looks like, but it'll probably lighten up, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule overall. Maybe that's something we should have considered a little bit more than before we went all in. But those are going to be the 2 hardest matchups I imagine they face all year until the Cowboys come back to town. So we'll see. I'm not jumping ship quite yet. I do think this is a blood buy while blood's in the street type of narrative here. If you even have to pay, like CJ was saying, you might be getting just Daniel Jones for free at this point because he's probably going to get
also
cut.
The thing though, wouldn't you expect when you're like getting the shit kicked out of you that you have like comeback garbage time opportunities? They don't even do that. They just lay down and die.
Yeah.
They just like get smoked and like there's not even like you would think that he has chances to throw like a touchdown or 2 at the end of the game when they're down and stuff like that.
No, it's been abysmal. And the line really is like, it's just the worst line in football. And that's probably another factor that I just did not expect, given that they were an okay line last year, preseason, and maybe again, over-evaluating preseason. But he was held upright all of his throws. Like, it looked like he had all day to throw behind his line. They had a bunch of first-round picks within that line. And I figured they might just take another step forward. Obviously, it didn't happen against the 2 top defenses in the league. I'm not abandoning hope yet. It might be one of those things, too, where, like, best ball influenced me a little bit because Daniel Jones, I still think is going to be okay in best ball. We're still going to get a couple 30-point days, but figuring out when those are going to be and when you have to be the one to decide to put him in your lineup, that might be a whole different story. So that's something to carry on for just all my rankings in the future, especially preseason-wise. I love best ball and these best ball-specific guys. Maybe I need to be a little bit lower on them in season long. So there's some thought processes trying to iron that out. Other than that, on the 49ers side of things, Purdy, and I often pair Daniel Jones with Purdy. I thought, a nice floor quarterback with a nice ceiling quarterback. I think that is actually going to work out just fine because Purdy, I think, might be the highest floor quarterback in all of fantasy other than those top 2 to 3 guys. I mean, every single start he has made, 2 touchdowns. He's won them all. It's amazing. This kid is just something special, in my opinion. Even though he's not special, there's nothing he does that's crazy. He just wins, and he gets it done. It's like a Jimmy Garoppolo with a little more juice to him here. 310 yards, 2 scores. And you don't have to be overly special when you're throwing a Deebo Samuel. 12 targets, 6 catches, 129 yards, doing a ton of work after the catch. Kittle reemerging, 7 catches, 90 yards on 9 targets. Now, of course, Ayuk did not play, so this became a little bit more of a condensed tree here. But ultimately, it was great to see both those guys show out and do their thing. Christian McCaffrey, of course, obviously dominating per usual, 18 carries, 85 and a score, 5 catches for 34. Not the 100% every snap player that we saw the week before. He doesn't have to be in a matchup like this. So we got to see Eli Mitchell mix in for 28 snaps, got 10 carries, looked pretty decent on his work as well. 11 for 42, actually. 3 catches for 2 yards, not much there, but just a reminder that he is the clear-cut handcuff in one of the most valuable roles. And he's only 40% rostered right now. So he's probably not out there in your league. I know you're Mr. Tough Guy, and then nobody in your league is ever available out there, Mr. Waiver Wire Guy. But maybe take a scan. I said that on Thursday with Truth. Go for a look here at Eli Mitchell, given that. That's about all I had for this game. There's really nothing to talk about the Giants anymore. I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time on this. But is there anything on the 49ers side or anything else, CJ, before we dive into some news?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. So we will continue forward. It does look like we have a couple super chats to make sure we get to here. Before we dive into the news, thank you guys for your patience while we get there for you. We got, we'll start with we got to go with the big boy first. $10 coming in from Chillard. Great to see you, Willard. Awesome. Love to see it. Let's go here. Chilling. What do we got, CJ?
Chiller, I want a bold player pick for the week from each of you. Who's having a day? Who am I propping on? Sticking in my DK lineup? How am I getting rich? I mean, I've been on one this morning. I think it's still from my high from last night, and I've just done way too much on prize picks and underdog and everything today. So let me scan through those real quick if you go first.
Yeah, so I have a few for you, Chiller. You're looking for like probably a random player to go off, maybe a cheapie. So I'll hit you with a couple at each different tier here. For the cheap guys, I'm in love with going after Tank Dell. And I know that's not overly bold at this point. I've been talking about him, though, since week 2 of the preseason, even before week 2 of the preseason, in May best ball drafts. I was taking him in the last round of everything just because CJ Stroud banged the table. He wanted this guy on his team. And that chemistry was clear. Once he finally got to run the routes, 82% of the routes last week, he led the team in targets. And I know Nico Collins, the clear number 1, but I love CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell double stacks today. It's extremely cheap, $5,300 for Stroud, $3,600 for Tank Dell. And then Nico, I think he's only $5,300 too, despite being he's the number 5 wide receiver in fantasy scoring so far this year, and he looks good doing it. Doesn't seem like a mirage. It's been a target hog, given that Stroud 91 pass attempts so far on the season, 3rd behind only Mac Jones is leading the way, which is also kind of nuts there. But I think that's a very intriguing double stack. The Jags have given up the 5th most points to quarterbacks, right around there. And I think the Jags will have a kind of let's bury this team after last week's horrible game and put up their points. We'll have Stroud, as will often be the case, chasing points throughout today. So I do like doubles with my Texans there, as gross as that might sound. It's a cheap way, and then you can get into studs like Tony Pollard, one of my favorite studs. I love Stephon Diggs to just destroy that tiny little corner for the Washington Commanders. Seems like that's going to be the matchup that he gets, and he should just bury him. I also, and I feel like, you're looking for really under-owned, just like complete Hail Marys. Given that the weather is actually not bad in Buffalo today, or in Washington, rather, it didn't get impacted by that storm. I actually think the Commanders, I do think the Bills come out, they put up their points. I think the Commanders aren't as bad as people. I just think they're better overall, more complete football team. And I think not that they can go toe-to-toe with the Bills, but whereas we saw the Raiders just kind of go into their shell after getting 30 trounced on them, I could see Howell keeping that competitive, racking up some garbage fantasy stats. And at 5,300, a lot of people will be on Stroud as the guy I picked. And I do think Stroud's a little bit safer, but I actually think Howell, nobody's going to be on him. And, nobody wants that game after there was the reports of the hurricane. I could see that game actually end up getting into a high points total and Sam Howell being that kind of gross play. Maybe you stack him with Dotson. I love Brian Robinson at 5,800 as well. Regardless of which games I'm going after, I think that is way too cheap. And he's projected for only 5% ownership. To me, that's a great play as well. So those are a couple spots that I'm looking at. CJ, what about some props or any DK lineups? Anything you're thinking?
It's funny that the players that you just mentioned, because I have Tank Dell in 2 of my prize picks today.
What does he got for his prize picks?
His receiving yardage is 36.5. It's just
he got 35 when he played 30% of the routes in week 1. And then that's a no-brainer to me. Come on, 35.
Yeah. And then I have his fantasy score is 8.5. I also like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing sleepers here right now, but Tyreek Hill at 6.5 receptions, 10 targets. What else do I got? Keenan Allen got to attack the Chargers game. That's just gonna be.
I mean, yeah. And I was just gonna say too, Will, that's where everyone's gonna go today, and it's really hard not to get pieces of that game. And if that's where you want to build it with a Kirk Cousins, he's clearly the best play on paper. Kirk Cousins at 6,900 shootout game. You stack him with Jefferson like that. Everyone's going to do that. And so if you're talking about tournament and trying to win, but it's easy to say that game, everyone in that game is going to blow up. That game is going to be so fun. But I'm just trying to think of the unique ways, because you're talking about trying to take down a winning lineup. But if you're just doing single entry cash, obviously the Chargers versus the Vikings, I mean, that game that's going to, how many points do you think that one hits, CJ? 70?
I think the over-under is 56, which is.
Oh my, even just that is insane in its own right. And I still think the over is hitting there. So that's where you got to go. One other one, and I know you had a couple more, CJ might toss out there, but for DK, Taysom Hill's only 3,300 and Kendre Miller's only 4,300. No Jamaal Williams on the IR last game before we get Alvin Kamara back. I could see either one of those guys maybe even them both if like Miller just kind of blows up early and starts getting the carries. I know you wrote about him, CJ. I love Kendre Miller as a player. Only 33% rostered right now. He was only 20% rostered entering yesterday. I tweeted out single-handedly shifted the Yahoo ownership, but no, like, a lot of people are talking about him, but he should absolutely be rostered in every league. I thought about maybe playing him over Tank Dell. I'm going to roll with Tank Dell in my flex myself. But Kendre Miller, another guy cheap, and Taysom Hill at tight end, the top 12 tight end for me this week. I think he could easily run in a touchdown as well. So the 3,300 on DraftKings, that's kind of a nice cheap play in my opinion.
Yeah, and
that you can get to.
He's 40 yards rushing on Prize Picks as well.
Who, Taysom or Kendre?
No, Kendre.
That's a pretty solid bet. I honestly feel better about Taysom almost in a weird way, at least fantasy points wise. He feels like a lock to get a touchdown today. I love Taysom. I wonder what his like DraftKings just like pure.
I hate him so much. I hate him.
CJ, look up for me. I know you did wear with us for Kittle, but look out like Taysom Hill 2 touchdowns. It's probably like plus 2,400 and maybe worth $1, a couple bucks to sprinkle on there. But Killer, thank you so much for the generous support for that super chat. I hope some of these picks nail it for you. Let me know what you're thinking too. You're a sharp DFS player, Willard. You always have unique builds and unique ways of thinking about the game. So toss them in the chat. Who are you thinking? Which of my takes did you like? Which ones did you not? But again, thank you so much for the super chat, for the support. I know we spent a lot of time on that, folks, but $10 super chats. If you want as long as in-depth answers, I mean, that's really showing your boys how much you value us, and we want to value you guys just the same.
Oh, Ryan Hemmings from the UK. Pessimistic 1-1 PPR. I need 2 from Elijah Moore, Taysom, JSN, Agnew, DJ Moore, Dell, Musgrave. Sorry for the mess. I'm a Cup Chubb owner.
So is T Hill? It's got to be that can't be Tyreek, right? Because like you're not even asking that question, I imagine. Assuming that's, I mean, if it is Tyreek, that's the easy answer. You're going Tyreek Hill. Assuming that it's Taysom, let's start to dive in. Not Agnew. I mean, come on. Although Agnew does always like that's a funny one just to toss out there. Maybe on DFS, I know he's 3K. Like he just always kind of does well whenever he's in there. So. I mean, but I can't play him. DJ Moore is definitely like the top of this list. I know it's a sketchy offense. I know there's all those rumors and reports going around in that facility. My God, the Bears, sickening organization. Part of me does think like this week could be the Justin Fields bounce back. I love his quote. I'm just going to stop thinking out there, which, yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear from your quarterback, a guy that's already a slow processor telling you he's not going to be thinking anymore. But actually, that might be what you want because that means he's going to take off, run a little bit more with the legs. Hopefully they just simplify things and get back to what made him such a fantasy stud. I think against the Chiefs, what do you have to lose? So my guess is actually we get a decent bounce back from Fields. I have him a couple spots above the ECR. Famous last words. If he looks like the first 2 weeks and that's the game plan they call, then you never want him in your lineup ever. But I do think they bounce back a little bit this week. And DJ Moore could be a part of that. They're going to need points. So I like DJ Moore here. Of all the rest, I honestly think I like Tank Dell the most myself. I love his role in this offense. He had 10 targets, led the team last week. He should have had 2 touchdowns. Now, if he had scored, he had a touchdown called back on a holding. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like he had 19 fantasy points, a top 18 day, and almost had a second touchdown for a top 5 day. Had that happened, he would not be only 26% rostered right now. He'd be 100% rostered, and he'd be probably in every lineup. CJ Stroud loves this kid, so I'm all aboard. I've been aboard the Tank Dell train, and I'm not getting off this week. So. To me, this is DJ Moore and Tank Dell. What about you, CJ?
Yeah, I'm actually starting Tank Dell in one of my leagues. I feel like it's kind of funny saying he's the lock here, but I think I'm agreeing with you there, Tank and DJ Moore. So I would initially look at Elijah Moore is probably right behind them, but I would go with Moore and Dell.
Yeah, so Eli Moore would be my third. And like you just mentioned, he's facing the Titans too. You know, if you're going to beat the Titans, it's definitely through the air. So Moore. The other Moore, Elijah Moore, does intrigue me, but he just hasn't really done anything yet. And I just don't trust Watson. He's good as the matchup is. I could still see Watson crapping himself today. I think he's horrible. So I go DJ Moore. I go Tank Dell. It's a little bit of a mess. That does suck having Cup and Chubb, but you know, hopefully Cup comes back strong for you soon enough. Hemmings, you're pessimistic. Come on, you're one of the more optimistic guys I ever know, Ryan. You're always supporting the show. You're always here, so we love you, brother. But yeah, it seems like we're aligned there. Tank Dell, DJ Moore, let it rip. And then we had Mike Q. our guy always supporting the show as well. Thank you so much for your super chat. Need a lot of help, DJ Moore or James Cook for the flex? I think this is probably James Cook fairly easily, CJ. I mean, DJ Moore obviously has supreme talent and maybe the higher ceiling, but Cook just seems really safe right now. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. As I usually say, I usually do go starting running back over the receiver.
Yeah, and he's seeing, like, I think last week it was about 65, 70% of the snaps, almost all the rushing workload outside of the work inside the 10. And that is the ultimate only real thorn for James Cook, is he's probably not going to have a high TD ceiling any week. They went to Harris. They went to Latavius.
Oh, God, that was gross last week. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the wolf is gone. Uh-oh, wolf is gone. Let's see, I'm going to tag Campanelli in. Campanelli.
What's going on, CJ?
So it looks like the wolf's internet has died.
Oh, geez. We've lost our fearless leader, folks.
Yeah. So yeah, as we were talking about, would you go DJ Moore or James Cook in the flex?
I mean, DJ Moore is coming into that, wide receiver one role for the Bears. I can kind of see that going some points, but I play it safe in the flex. I go James Cook. I think he's a solid 13-pointer right there.
Yeah, I feel the same with you. It looks like the wolf is officially gone. Is he back?
He's back.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I had to tag Campanelli in.
Okay, thank you, Campanelli, for the tag. And sorry about that. Something happened with my internet, just completely glitched and like everything shut down for a sec. So we are back. Can you see me and hear me, CJ?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, here we go. Now I can see myself. Sorry about that, Wolfpack. Little technical difficulty here. We appreciate you sticking that one out with us. So yeah, we left off with we were talking about James Cook. I don't know where I got cut off there, but I'll just kind of wrap it up.
He's been getting vulture on the goal line from like some disgusting running backs with Latavius Meyers.
Yeah, he hasn't seen a single carry from inside the 10 yet, and that's the rub there. The weekly ceiling is going to be capped because of that, but he can score from long down and distance. He can catch a touchdown at certain points, and it's not a guarantee that Harris and Latavius Murray just dominate that work the rest of the year and then it's over. So I think James Cook, given that you're going to get a nice 10 to 15 every week just on yardage and catches, and then you mix in maybe he gets a touchdown every couple of weeks, he just feels a lot safer to me. So I'm going to go James Cook there, Mike. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, everyone, again for pushing through those technical difficulties with me. It looks like we have a couple more super chats as well in here, right?
Yeah. So Sean Watson, I'm going to start 3 of these. B-Rob, Algier, Stevenson, Rashad White, or Joshua Kelly. It's a nice little running back group we have.
That is nice. I love Brian Robinson, honestly, maybe even the most here. I think this could be a good Stevenson just rebound game. If you beat the Jets, it's always through the run here. They're good defense all over, but especially way better as a pass defense. We got the kind of hurricane conditions. That looks like the game that's going to get hit the most here, too. So probably a pounded out, bleed the clock, just dominate Zach Wilson with your defense and use the running backs. And then I like Josh Kelly over Rashad this week. Minnesota, we saw Swift just absolutely destroy them. I know Kelly didn't do much in his spot start last week against the Titans, but nobody really does much at the running back position against the Titans. So I like Josh Kelly to have a big rebound here. I think Kellen Moore, pretty smart play caller. He just didn't even bother using the run game because he knew the Titans were so much more of a pass funnel. And Kelly was still like the every down back. I believe Dotson mixed in for like 3 snaps total. So to me, Kelly in a great offense and a good matchup with tons of points up for grabs. I love Kelly, I love Robinson, and I like Stevenson. So I bench White and Algier. What about you?
I hate agreeing with you so much, but it's kind of a later.
Yeah, that to me, because Algier, he had 18 carries last week, but no touchdowns. I think Bijan's role is just continuing to grow. Rashad White just not that good in a bad matchup against the Eagles. Yeah, volume, but the other 3 I really like, and the other 2 is just like meh plays to me. They're not bad plays, but they're fine. CJ, I'm going to remove you for 1 sec. I hate being on the right side. I don't know what it is. It's my OCD, but I can't be over here. So give me 1 sec. All righty. And then add to stage. He's back. All righty. Thank you, guys.
All right. NC Firearms, 2-2 or Miles Sanders at the flex, and then Burrow or Goff.
I mean, the NC Firearms back-to-back weeks supporting your boys. Thank you so much. These super chats, you guys are so generous. We really, really do appreciate it. Goes such a long way. I would go, oh man, I mean, the fact that I've just like, I had to pause and not just be like, Miles Sanders, he's the clear running back. He's getting 18 touches a week against Tutu freaking out well.
Tutu's legit.
But like Tutu's been really, really good so far. And I love this Rams passing game. You know, they're absolutely clicking with Matt Stafford, even though they have nothing to throw to. And it's PPR as well. Like you see Miles Sanders getting subbed out for Chuba in 2-minute drill and most passing downs. So that really caps Sanders' ceiling there. I mean, am I crazy to say Tutu Atwell here?
I was going to say I'm going Tutu here.
I think I am too. I'm a big Tutu fan now. And this brings up a question for me. Sorry to turn your question, NC Firearms, to my own. Would you go Tank Dell or Tutu Atwell? Because I have to decide between that.
That's tough.
It is tough.
Tutu has the higher ceiling almost now that he's getting vertical. I think I'd maybe go Tutu over Tank. Yeah,
I do have what I've kind of was helping me kind of decide because it is like a coin flip to me. I have him 38 and 39 in my rankings. I also have Puka in my lineup, and it's just like at a certain point, like how many Rams can you stuff in? Both those guys have been playable both weeks so far. So yeah, I probably could, but to me, the ceiling's a bit higher. That Tank Dell could be like that every down. You know,
yeah, probably with Puka in the lineup, I'd probably go with Tank.
Yeah, but yeah, I just don't like Sanders. Yeah, you're gonna get 15 carries. Dalton, maybe this offense is actually better this week with Andy Dalton. It can't be much worse than what we've seen with Bryce Young so far. But I just don't like Sanders. It's not a great offense. And with the PPR settings, I really do think Tutu Atwell, plus that Bengals defense, so much more vulnerable with no Jesse Bates this year. They've been getting bombed. I think the 5th most points right now to quarterbacks after being a bottom 5 matchup last year. It's crazy that one player could have such a big impact, but it's really true here. So I like Tutu Atwell, as nuts as that is. Burrow versus Goff. I think I got to just go Goff today and not risk this because unless you have Stafford or who else could it's a 2-game Monday nighter. So is there any other no Jaylen Hurts? I mean, Baker could be a plug-in if Burrow's out, but like I just like Goff today.
I feel fine with Goff.
Yeah, he's at home. He plays way better at home. I like Goff. I'd rather just roll Goff, not worry about this Burrow situation. Even if he plays, what if he re-aggravates the calf? And it just doesn't look good anyways. Even if he plays the full game, it hasn't looked that great yet anyways. So I'm just going to go Goff there and not worry about it. It sounds like you agree too, CJ.
Yep. We still have more super chats coming in. So we have Derek Just with Wadle out. I have Jefferson and Pickens as my receivers. Full PPR flex, pick one of these. Thielen, Rashid Shaheed, Jaden Reed or something.
Man, they're just always supporting the show. Thank you so much.
Shaheed. I love Shaheed so much.
I really like Shaheed too. What a receiver core. Given when Waddle's healthy, you have Jefferson and Wadle. What a 1-2 punch. So for this week, yeah, I mean, this is tricky. So you like Shaheed the most of these options?
I can't go with. I feel like you're gonna go with Thielen, or actually, you just read about Jaden Reed. So
yeah, and that's actually who I was gonna go with. Is Jaden Reed, but all these guys, they're all lumped into the same tier for me. Like Sutton feels like the biggest name and the best play, but it's just that the fact that Brandon Johnson's getting more targets and Marvin Mims' role could grow at any minute. I don't love Sutton. It's just a weird, gross situation. Shaheed's been awesome. I mean, he's such a great speedster. I think he's 3rd since last year in yards per route run for when he gets targeted. So he's got such great efficiency metrics. He's been great so far this year. Definitely brings the highest ceiling here. We just saw Thielen come off a 9-target, 7-catch, 54 and a touchdown. And I think Dalton's actually an upgrade to Bryce Young. So I could see Thielen having a big day, but we can't just forget that he only had 2 catches for 12 yards. I think I'm going to go Jaden Reed. 8 targets last week, 5 targets in week 1. Both times he's led the team for the Packers in targets. He's in that slot role, high percentage, but he can also get vertical, 32% of the team's air yards in week 1. So he's got that like great combination of some layup looks and then also some deep shots too. And yeah, maybe Christian Watson comes back here, but I think that just kind of opens the field up even more for him. So personally, I really like Reed here. I'm with you that I think Shaheed might be my next one up, given that the other two just feel so gross and unsexy.
Mhm.
I kind of like Reed then Shaheed, but how would you rank? I would rank these probably Reed, Shaheed, Thielen, Sutton, which I got to check my rankings. I don't think that's how I have it, but just sitting here talking, that's how I personally think I would
Isn't it
rank
wild
those.
that the Saints offense is like they're able to have like 3 fantasy relevant receivers?
It's nuts. And Carr isn't even that well. Like he hasn't caught 14 fantasy points, but he's just racking up yards and no scores. So like these guys, like they have like 300-yard guys like every week because Shaheed will catch like 2 balls. He does feel that Shaheed might be the riskiest to just like disappear though, because he is only playing about 60% of the snaps, about 55% of the routes right now. So like he's really been dependent on like one big play hitting, but that's what he does best. So oh man, it's tough because that is a good secondary as well. But Douglas, I was listening to a podcast about how Shaheed plays on Douglas's side, and Douglas has been a huge liability compared to Jair Alexander, who's also questionable today. We definitely have some big Packers news to really should be checking and thinking. Like, is Jair playing? Is Christian Watson and is Aaron Jones playing? Because that will impact this decision in a few ways. Because if Jair's out, even better for Shaheed. I don't know. Yeah. So what's your final ranking from CJ? Mine was Reed, Shaheed, Thielen, then Sutton, and I'm gonna check my.
I'm gonna go Shaheed, Reed, Thielen, Sutton.
Yeah, so I have Shaheed down much lower in my rankings. I'm gonna bump him up to above. Yeah, 6 spots up now. I'm bumping Reed up ahead of Sutton to make sure that's reflected. What was your ranking one more time, CJ?
Same thing, but flip Shaheed and Reed.
Okay, so Shaheed's your top. So we're not fully aligned, Derek. I feel like Reed and Shaheed have similar ceilings, but with a little bit more floor baked into Jaden Reed. So that's where I'm going to ultimately decide. Like I said, these guys are all like right at literally wide receiver 30 or 40 down to wide receiver 46. Like make up like 5 of these 7 guys from that range. So they're all really lumped in together. It makes it a tough question. But that's how I would play this one out. Is Thielen? Reed, then Shaheed, then Thielen, then Sutton.
Then we got another one. Rashad White, Dubs, Hunter Henry, or Garrett Wilson on the flex.
All right, let me find which name is that? I'm sorry.
Fella. It's 11-17.
Oh, Fella. Thank you so much. There it is. I see it clicked right now. So White, Dobbs, Henry, or Garrett Wilson in the flex today. Full PPR. This is tough because obviously Garrett Wilson should be the shoe-in, no-brainer. Let it rip. But it's tough. The weather there, obviously Christian Gonzalez, locking down Tyreek Hill even last week, that it's scary, but I still think you got to go with talent here. Like he got it done against the Cowboys. Yeah. It just takes one play for him. And is Zach Wilson, does he look like dog mess? Like he always does? Absolutely. He doesn't look like he's really taken any positive steps forward, but if there's one positive step, it's that he's just funneling the ball to Garrett Wilson. So I feel like he's just the better bet to probably find the end zone here.
Patriots are also without three corners today too.
Yeah, I do think they're going to shadow Wilson with Gonzalez. That's what they did with Tyreek Hill. I imagine he's the top-rated rookie right now of all positions for PFF. What a steal he was. So I'm in love with Christian Gonzalez. I think he's amazing, and I do think he's going to shadow Garrett Wilson. But if he could get there for you against the Cowboys, I think he can get there for you against, really anybody, including the Patriots. So I go Garrett Wilson, and I weirdly like Hunter Henry might be my next one up here. I love Hunter Henry and his role. He's like the big slot receiver for the Patriots right now. That's what he's playing. And so he's so consistent. I wonder who your tight end is, fella, because honestly, Henry's a top 7 guy for me this week. And I'd like to have him in your lineup, but just not at the could you ever imagine clicking Hunter Henry in for Garrett Wilson? You can't do that. I can't do that. Even if he does end up outscoring him, I couldn't do that myself. So I go Garrett Wilson here. I buy the talent. I think he is such a great player. I can't bench him myself. So what about you? What do you think, CJ?
Once again, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, among all these other options, like Rashad White, the bet for volume is there, but against the Eagles, so we're playing bad matchups here. So I'd rather play with the talent than that. So yeah, we're in agreement.
A few other super chats. Thank you, Jeremiah, for the super sticker, and then Texas Hustler with the $5 per usual.
Yeah, do you want to? Does Jeremiah's come with a question? Oh yeah, it does. Killing it with the super chat. Y'all getting paid today. Yeah, everyone's being so generous today. It's so greatly appreciated, Wolfback. Maybe I will be able to buy a house after this season.
For either of them right now.
Okay, so yeah, we did get another one from Ryan Hemmings as well as a super chat. So let's keep our eyes peeled. I know our man David Campanelli's there in the moderating, so keep your eyes peeled for Jeremiah and Texas Hustler, and we will make sure to make our way over there. But again, thank you guys so much. What a great, generous, super chat day. Me and CJay have been talking about, like, do we have to set up a Patreon? Maybe we still will, but like this is gonna definitely help us out to keep these shows going and keep answering your questions regularly. Like, this is awesome. So thank you guys so much. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's dive into Hemmings. What do we got?
2 pounds from Ryan Hemmings. Pick 1 PPR: Dotson, D Hop, Kendrick Miller, Elijah Moore, DJ Moore. Maybe.
I'm guessing DJ means DJ Moore. So I'm gonna go DJ Moore is my favorite here. I don't know. It's so many question marks otherwise here. I can't quit Dotson. I like I said, I think that Commanders matchup's a good one today. I think it's sneaky that I don't think the Bills defense is as good as the stats might suggest. I mean, who have they faced? Zach Wilson and Jimmy Garoppolo. I know Tre'Davious White's the real deal, but if anybody, he's going to be on McLaurin. And I don't know that I want to trust Tannehill against a Cleveland team that's been really, really brutal against wide receivers. Kendra, I really am intrigued by as a stash, but it could be Taysom for 2 touchdowns today. Are they going to work in Tony Jones ahead of him just disgustingly? There's a lot of questions with him.
He may be the worst running back in the NFL.
Tony Jones, yeah, he is. I don't think maybe he is. He is so freaking bad. I don't think he's averaged above 2 yards a carry in a game. Like he's horrendous. So Kendrick Miller should be the guy. But again, assuming rational coaching can often get us into bad holes here. I'm liking Dotson and DJ Moore with D-Hop as like the next man up. If my Dotson loves it a little too much, maybe you go D-Hop over him. What do you think, CJay? This is a tough one.
I would rank these DJ Moore, Kendry, D-Hop. No, Dotson, D-Hop.
So you toss in Kendry Moore. Oh, we have to pick one. Okay, I thought we had to pick 2. So I am going DJ Moore then. Like we'll keep ripping DJ Moore. Sorry, I thought we had to get 2 of these for you, Ryan. So yeah, DJ Moore, the top guy for me. They're going to need points against this Chiefs team, and what better than to go to your guy? The DJ Moore questions kind of surprised me. I get that like week 1 was really spooky, but he had Jair Alexander shadowing him. That team looked like shit. I don't think we should just forget how good like he looked this preseason, how all the beat writers all offseason, every ball is going to DJ Moore at every layer of the field. Like if we're getting these type of questions about DJ Moore, I might be trying to buy him in fantasy. And like I said, maybe even try to buy low on Justin Fields. I think he's going to kind of let loose today and start to run it around. And we're going to get that Justin Fields that was a juggernaut last year. At least I'm hoping so. So I go DJ Moore. I really think he's getting a little slept on right now. I'm bumping him up the rankings. He's my wide receiver 27, just behind. I don't put him above your boy, CJay, Jordan Addison. I love him today. But that I bumped him up right to there. So like right around DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Jordan Addison, George Pickens. That's kind of where I have him sliding in today. But I feel pretty good about DJ Moore. Thank you again, Brian. Double super chatting it for us. So many of you boys supporting your guys here. It means the world. Thank you guys so much. And if you don't have the means to do the super chats, but you want to do a free way to support us, that thumbs up button. Over 50 of you here. You love to see it. It's great.
I prefer the super chats over that. But.
I do too. A free way to help you boys if you don't want to do that is that thumbs up button to keep getting us out to more people. But yeah, the super chats do go such a long way. It looks like we got another one coming in from Craig Sarner.
We do have something maybe more important.
What's that?
Hey, boys.
Oh, the legend himself, Mr. Simply Seamus. What is going on, brother?
Good morning. Good morning.
Do I see a Roto Street shirt over there?
Of
Is that
course.
what? Yeah. Hillary calls hi from the bedroom over there, by the way.
Hi, Hillary.
What's going on, my man? How can we help you out this beautiful Sunday?
I always have questions, always have good ones. Okay, so I've got one. Pick 2 running backs, Brian Robinson, Kyron Williams, Ford, or Javante.
It's got to be the first 2 for me. And I love it. That's a good stable you got there of like high-end RB2 after high-end RB2. But Kyron and B-Rob, after both going for over 25 last week, I'm riding them, Seamus. So me and you can ride those two stallions together this week. I'm all in. I love those guys.
Love it.
What about you, CJ? Do you feel any different? I feel like they were the clear top two.
I don't remember all of them, but
who else? It was Kyron, B-Rob, Javante, and who else?
Ford and Javante.
Yeah, I'd go with the first two, with Ford a close third.
Yeah, Ford's a close third. The matchup wasn't against
him a little bit for you.
Yeah, I just wrote about him this weekend too. If you want to check that out, Seamus, I put it up this morning. It's the Tennessee matchup that kind of worries me about Ford. I think moving forward is going to be a much tougher question. But with that Tennessee defense today, such a good run D, and two really good options in Brian Robinson and Kyron, I see no reason to overdo it there. So yeah, go with those first two.
Love it. Love it.
Any others we got for you, or is that the only worry for today?
I think that's the only worry. I'm just
awesome
into the championship.
Let's ride those Rams, baby, to the championship. Seamus, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for calling in.
Fabulous to see you, gentlemen. Fabulous.
Cheers. I love Seamus. All right, back to Craig Sarno again with that very generous super chat. Thank you so much. We're 40 minutes in. We haven't even done our news yet because we had so many super chats, and I freaking love that. It's amazing. So let's hit Sarno. It looks like we might have like one or two more. That might be the last super chat to clean up. So is that it? Is that the last one?
Yeah, I think we may have a Jeremiah Moore question, but I'm gonna find it.
Okay, perfect. Oh yeah, and see Campanella, he's starring the super chats, or it's either auto starred. Whatever's happening there.
I see the Jeremiah question, but Sarno, half PPR, sit one, Sutton, Gabe, Davis, Pickens, and then Pierce or Madison.
Interesting one here. So I would sit Sutton for the receivers. That's easy for me. I love Gabe Davis today. Pickens seeing 10 targets in last week, the first time they could really game plan without Deontay Johnson. I love it. They're definitely upping his role. Great stuff. Bowie's out his floor. Raiders are a good matchup. Gabe Davis, stepdaddy, daddy, whatever you want to call him. He looks like daddy this year. I mean, he is back. He doesn't have the high ankle sprain. He's healthy. Sutton's just Sutton. Like, he sucks. So I definitely go Pickens and Gabe. What about you, CJ?
No. You need to sit one of the receivers and then sit one of the running.
Yeah, I'm sitting Sutton. So I'm going Pickens and Gabe.
All right. Okay, yeah, I got it. So yeah, I'm definitely going. Gabe is obviously the lock, and then I'm going Pickens. Pickens looked great on Monday night too. And then, but you said one between Pierce or Madison.
I would go. So I originally had Madison pretty low, and I'm still lower than the ECR on him. But when it's a matchup of like two kind of gross-looking running backs right now, I'll go with the one in the game with a bunch of points and just hope Madison like stumbles his ass into the end zone once, maybe even twice. I have no faith in Dameon Pierce right now. If he's getting at minimum, Madison's getting 78% of the touches. Is he doing anything with him? No, it's gross. But Pierce is only on the field 46% of the time right now. No receiving work at all. I got to go with Madison here as the higher floor, higher ceiling in that game as well. I don't like it. But Cam Akers, I believe, is inactive at this point. So I think it's definitely a Madison day. Not Madison day. Like, there are no things at Madison days at this point. But of these two, I go Madison. What about you?
Yeah, I know. Pierce has turned into a plotter, and they just don't establish the run whatsoever. So they're just set on CJay throwing the ball 70 times again.
Yeah. I did see that Aaron Jones is out as I'm updating my rankings.
And Christian Watson's also out.
Christian Watson is out. Okay, so I'm going to bump A.J. Dillon up, not a ton because he's a slug. He's not good. So he gets up to my running back 30, just behind Khalil Herbert, Zach Moss, Alexander Madison, running back 28. So that's kind of where Dillon slides in. Don't love him. Watson is out. Okay, so I definitely will have to get off a little bit early today because I have Watson in like 4 of 6 of my my main leagues. So I definitely need to adjust that. Watson being out, so let me just X him out. I already talked about Jayden Reed and how much I love him, and I don't think Watson would have impacted that much because I think he just stretches the field more, but all the more targets up for grabs now for our guy, Jayden Reed. Looks like Christian Watson will probably return next week then. So I already bumped up Jayden Reed pretty aggressively. Above 2-2 Atwell. Yeah, I think at this point I'm going to go Jayden Reed, just not above Tank Dell though at this point. But I'm going Jayden Reed even above Michael Thomas on the other side of things in that game. Romeo Doubs did kind of disappear last week, but he gets a bump up with this ahead of Marquise Brown against Dallas. I don't love that matchup, even though they'll be playing a lot of catch up. So Dobbs bumps up to my wide receiver 43. Jaden Reed, my wide receiver 38, just a little bit ahead of him in the more secure slot role is going to be the fallout there. In that note with the Packers, did it mention if Jair Alexander's playing? Do you know, CJ?
I saw. I think I assume that he's playing because Schefter did the Packers inactives, and he's not involved in it. So.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Campanelli's shaking his head, so he is not playing apparently. Is that right? Yeah. So no Jair Alexander. That does okay. So maybe I shouldn't bump Mike Thomas down too much because that secondary becomes a lot more vulnerable. So the Rashid Shaheed bump up is worth it. I'd still like Jaden Reed though more than him for that super chat we got earlier. I think it was Derek Just who was asking that. But I'm not going to bump Michael Thomas below these guys anymore. In fact, I'm bumping him up right now. So Michael Thomas back up to wide receiver 37 for me. A lot of interesting injuries today to sift through. So believe we had, what was it? Jeremiah did get his question in, and then I'll rip through some
of another one. Sean Wasserman, not high on D-Hop. Would you pick up Henry or Tank Dell?
Okay, perfect. Oh, you already clicked it. Sorry, I just clicked it double time. I'm going to do it again. Not high on D-Hop. Would you pick up Henry or Dell? Henry must be Hunter Henry. I'd rather have Tank Dell in my lineup today. I feel phenomenal about Tank Dell. I really, really like him today. Him and Stroud have that connection. They just air it out so much. Would I play Tank Dell over DeAndre Hopkins myself? Probably not. But hey, Sean, if you're not feeling it, I always say go with your gut, trust what you're feeling. And so of these two guys, I would go Tank Dell. What do you think, CJ?
Yeah, I'm not a Hopkins guy. I'm over him. I'm going Tank Dell here.
Yeah, all righty. Sounds good. I will say, though, so Hopkins last week, hamstring injury, limited, kind of a decoy. Week 1, he had 13 targets. 13 targets you can't really sneeze at. That being said, Tank Dell had 10 last week, too, and it seems like a more ripe environment at this point. So I do like, I guess if you don't want to play Hopkins, I personally have Hopkins higher. If you don't want to play him, though, I think Tank Dell is the pivot I would make there. Thank you, Sean. Double dipping in the super chat jar. Really supporting your boys this Sunday morning. It's greatly appreciated, guys. You're really showing up. Thank you so much.
And I
love this name.
What?
I was going to say, you found Jeremiah's question?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll pull that up, and then we have one more super chat.
Did we do this? Daddy Davis or Miles Sanders?
I think we got that from someone else. No, it was who was it? It was somebody that were like Tutu Atwell or Miles Sanders. And I certainly, if I'm going to go Tutu Atwell over Miles Sanders, I'm definitely going Gabe Davis over Miles Sanders. I love Gabe Davis this week. I love Gabe Davis really this season right now. He just looks healthier. Looks like he's really out to redeem last year's mistake. And he was hurt last year. So, like, again, I don't want to throw too much shade at what he did last year. He played through a high ankle sprain the entire year. That's not easy to do, especially when you're trying to be an explosive down the field threat. So I like Gabe Davis. I want to keep riding that wave. So I'm going Gabe there. What about you, CJ?
Oh, yeah. Of course, I'm going Daddy Davis here.
Davis.
Miles Sanders thinks, but yeah, I'm going Daddy Davis.
Yeah, let's roll with it. Let's go there. And then one of my favorite names we've seen pop up here, Tater to Tot. I like that. Making Tater into a verb.
Is the old mustache Minshew a sleeper today?
I actually, so here's the deal. I don't know that I'd want to start him in seasonal leagues. He's only 5,100 on DraftKings. They're banged up. The Ravens are really banged up in the secondary. I heard the weather's actually not great there. There's some weather concerns, so we might have to get CJ on a quick weather report if you want to Google like NFL weather or see. I know there's some Twitter guys that like do a good thread on that, so I can try to find that as well. But I heard that the weather might not be great there. Let us know if you guys have caught any weather news there. But I actually kind of like Minshew. I mean, I saw something that he averages like 18 points per game per start. He was like top 15 in points per drop back. And, over is more so in relation to his DraftKings salary that he's 3x'd it like 75% of the time. He's 4x'd it like 60% of the time. So in terms of DraftKings, I mean, he definitely does make sense. I love stacking him with Michael Pittman at 6,200. Guy's seen over 30% of the targets so far. We were definitely wrong on Pittman. I think he's the guy, that negative juju about everybody kind of hated Pittman coming in this year. And it makes sense why, but he's definitely bucked that trend. They're playing faster. They throw it a ton. And I like this offense. I think Shane Steichen, he took Minshew back from Philadelphia. He carried him with him. Last time Minshew started for Philadelphia, he ultimately had like 25 points. So I kind of like Minshew. He gets it done. He's one of the better backups in the league. He's my quarterback 23 for the week, so it's more so like a 2 quarterback thing. But I have him ahead of like Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr even. I'd rather have Minshew. And like I said, on DraftKings, where everyone's going to probably go to Stroud at 5,300, maybe you go after that game. I think that's a fun game to target. I think Lamar is going to go nuts against that secondary. I think Zay Flowers has himself an absolutely massive day today, and Andrews too. I just think that Colts secondary is, if not the worst, like the top 3 worst in the league. And then they play so fast on offense, and they like to it sets up for a right game environment. Whoever's facing the Colts, so I love Lamar. I love the receiving weapons there, and I think Minshew on the other side. Yeah, I think he can get it done. So I think he's an okay sleeper. Would you rather play Minshew or Baker Mayfield against Philly this week, CJ? That's kind of where
I'd go Minshew there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bump him up there too. I would rather have Stroud. I feel better about Stroud this week, but I would against that matchup there. Yeah, I think that's where I roll. So yeah, I like Minshew there. So yeah, tater tot. I don't know if that gives you enough on Minshew, but yeah, I think he's viable if you're trying to get sneaky on DraftKings or if you're desperate for a 2 QB flex. But again, he's only my quarterback 22, so there's a good chance there's some other options ahead of him.
And then it looks like we have a couple of boys on the old golf cart right now. So
On the golf cart?
What's up, fellas?
Oh, like the call. Oh, we got that. Now, did Texas Hustler ever get a question in? Because he did super chat. Yeah, some friends on the golf cart will have to pull in for the call in here. What's going on, boys?
Hey, what's up? I want to know, Nakua. Can I start Nakua over Evans, Olave, Keenan Allen, or Jamar Chase?
Jeez.
All of them. He's God. He is God himself.
But who the hell do I sit then?
All right, so give me so you're starting Puka. I'm telling you that. We're not benching him at this point. Honestly, I think Jamar Chase. As crazy as that sounds, but with Burrow banged up, what if Burrow doesn't play? Just give me the options one more time, Ben.
Is Olave, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, or Jamar Chase?
How many do you need to start?
Come down to one of the Monday night boys.
We got a double flex. We got a double flex league, so I can start all 4 of them.
Yeah, maybe you start all 4. Like who else?
Well, no, I got to sit one of them because I got Nakua too.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, you're sitting. So of those guys, as of today, I would probably bench Evans. The good news is they both play Monday night. So like if Burrow's out, you pivot, you bench Jamar Chase, you play Mike Evans. Puka's going to be in over, and Puka plays Monday night too. So we kind of have some time to figure that all out. But to me, I actually think Jamar Chase, with what things currently look like, might be the worst of those options. And that's like the famous last words. As soon as you bench Chase, he has his 50-point day. But especially if Burrow's
backup quarterbacks too always like heavily target receiver ones, it seems.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm definitely feeling Puka over. Like the only guy I have above Puka clearly there is Keenan. Keenan you cannot bench. I really do like Olave, especially now with no Jair Alexander. He gets a nice bump up. He's just so. I saw something about like Olave now playing 43% in the slot, 50% outside. So they're moving him around and giving him that kind of like Amon-Ra St. Brown layup role. So Olave is a lock for me too. But then Puka, I mean, come on, 20 targets. The guy, what feels better than Puka Nakua in your lineup right now? So it's going to come down to Jamar Chase or Evans on Monday night. And I say if Burrow's out, it's Evans. And if Burrow's in and feeling like okay and the reports are positive, then you just go with Chase. It's kind of how I'd play that. What about you, CJay? Do you feel any differently? Or like is Puka just on your bench instead?
No, I have to go with Puka, but that's tough. I think I was gonna say Olave, but I don't know. I can't bench Jamar Chase. I can't do that. No matter what. I think if I had to, I'd probably bench Olave, but it's
over Evans.
Evans has been so good.
I know he has. I love Mike Evans. I'm all in on Mike Evans. Ben, how the hell did you get all these freaking receivers? Jeez.
Yeah, that sucks, Mars. Mars just hit one in the water. I went 0 RB and I still got Tony Pollard. I just got lucky.
Yeah, the hero RB approach. Get that one anchor and then a bunch of great receivers. Nice. Yeah. Well done. So that's how I play it. Again, Monday night, decide between Evans and Chase. don't bench Olave today. Don't listen to CJ. Olave's a monster. So yeah, play Keenan, play Olave today, play Puka, and then figure it out between the other two is how I'd play this situation.
Yeah, I like that.
Did Mars have any questions before we let the boys in the golf cart go?
What's up, Bet Boys? How we doing?
Good, man. How are we?
Not too bad. I got just one question.
What course are we at, Justin, by the way?
We're at Red Tail out in Devons. About an hour away from that.
Nice.
So one question I got. Pick 2, sit 1, half PPR. I got DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, and Josh Kelly.
DJ Moore, Josh Kelly, Amari Cooper. We got to bench one of these guys?
Yeah.
Amari for me, I think.
I think I'm benching DJ Moore there. I love Josh Kelly in that matchup. I think Minnesota's a terrible defense, tons of points all over the place there. And then Cooper gets the worst pass, most points allowed to wide receivers. He's looked good all year already. He's one of the few guys actually looking competent in that offense. And they're going to need to lean on the pass if they're going to beat Tennessee. And DJ Moore, I like him too, but I just feel like Cooper's matchup is too good. He's played too well. I have about 5 spots above DJ Moore in the rankings. So to me, it comes down to DJ Moore versus Kelly more so. If you don't buy Kelly as a player, I get that. But I just feel like that game environment's great. Is it full PPR or what did you say?
You think Kelly has a bounce back this week?
I do. I think that Kellen Moore just didn't really ride him because it was the matchup against Tennessee, like we're seeing with the Browns. Such a pass funnel. And I think Minnesota, after we saw what Swift did to him, we're getting at least 1 touchdown on 15 touches for Kelly today. He's certainly the less of the talents here. So if you did want to just bet on talent and bench him, I get that as well. But I feel like that game, I just want as many pieces of that game as I can get. And I think he does have a decent rebound today. Do you buy Kelly this week, CJ? It is it's a tricky question.
I have him in a few prize picks with his fantasy points over to score a touchdown. I like him a lot. So.
All righty. So, yeah, we're benching DJ Moore of that one just because if anything just blows up, it's that Bears offense. I think the other two at least have somewhat stabler floors and decent ceilings as well. So, it's tricky, though. I love DJ Moore today. I've already told a lot of people to play him. So, that's just 3 good options, Justin. It's tough to sift through. But, yeah, I would bench Moore myself. But if you wanted to bet on Kelly, it's close enough. It's not like these two are locks. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I would go Kelly and Cooper myself.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
All right. Good luck on the golf course, guys. Thanks for the call-in. Later, guys. All righty. And then I know we got a super chat from Texas Hustler earlier without a question. I don't know if
I don't see anything.
If we found anything. So let us know, Campanelli. He says no. So Texas Hustler, we know you super chatted. Thank you so much for your support. $5 as well. Your generous super chat. Please do. If you have a question, get us in there. Our man Campanelli gave us the thumbs up. He's looking for it right now. So definitely let us know. I believe that wraps up all our call-ins. Or not our call-ins. We got Campanelli coming on momentarily, but all our super chats as well, right, CJ? I think real quick, I can kind of hit on some of this news that we have to sift through. Yeah, we got a thumbs up. We're ready to go. All righty. So I'm going to go as fast as I can because we're an hour in. We had so many super chats. Thank you again so much, guys. What a generous day. So greatly appreciated. You guys, it's awesome. I can't say it enough. So thank you again so much for being here. As I rip through this news, 50 of you here, keep those questions coming in. That thumbs up button, though, is also a nice free way to keep more people coming in and help your boys out. Continue to grow. If you're new here, sub to the channel. We're live 4 times a week, answering all your questions, helping you get through everything you need to dominate this fantasy season. But I'm going to just rip through this news really fast. Joe Burrow, limited in Friday's practice. He did get out there. It does seem like it's trending towards playing, but it is a big risk, and I would not be personally holding out for Joe Burrow if I didn't have to. You have Baker Mayfield as a potential option. Of course, if somehow Stafford's still out there in your league, he would be the preferred backup plan. And honestly, I would just play Stafford over Burrow, even if Burrow plays at this rate, because he could get re-injured. But if you really wanted to wait it out for Burrow, then also pick up Baker Mayfield. But I would definitely be playing that one safe. So let us know if you have a Burrow question or if you need a potential stream. I like Sam Howell, honestly, today against the Bills, 22% rostered, try to get in that game environment, maybe even Gardner Minshew. I like that. Speaking of Gardner Minshew, he is starting today because Richardson's still in concussion protocol. He's always done pretty well in his starts. He averages just under 18 fantasy points per game. Great point per dollar option on DraftKings. I saw Tater Tot did mention it was for DFS. It's a good low-owned, nice pivot off of what I think will be the chalk low QB, CJ Stroud. I think it's an interesting option. I love stacking him with Michael Pittman. And I think the overall offense, it doesn't get quite as explosive, but the pass catchers are going to get more volume now as a result. And then Bryce Young's been ruled out against the Seahawks. You hopefully weren't starting him anyways. It will be interesting to see what Dalton does, though, because it can't be much worse than what Bryce Young has been. So I do think that actually boosts up guys like Adam Thielen again, coming off a 9-target, 7-catch, 54-yard TD day. Maybe Mingo is a nice little sneaky stash right now to see if he can kind of get his season going with Andy Dalton. Just if you have bench trash and you need something to play there, something to consider. Austin Ekeler, we knew he probably wasn't going to play. He is out, unfortunately. Would have been a beautiful spot to fire him up. My God, probably would have put up 50 fantasy points against that Vikings team, considering what CJay did. CJay did, DeAndre Swift did. Very big resemblance between CJay and DeAndre Swift there. But yeah, I consider what he did. I think Ekeler would have smashed, but I do think Josh Kelly also has a really good, quality RB2 appeal here. Good flexes we just were talking about with the boys in the golf carts there. Derrick Henry off the injury report. He had a toe thing. He is going to play. Aaron Jones was questionable, but he is going to miss this game. As I mentioned, I don't love A.J. Dillon at all. I think he's trash. Lions I believe at this point, Montgomery is officially inactive. He was doubtful. Jahmyr Gibbs should get a nice boost up. He's top 10 in my rankings this week. But we did see Craig Reynolds mix in last week for 60% of the rushes as soon as Montgomery was removed. So Reynolds himself becomes a desperation flyer. If you have nothing at running back right now, you got to fill in for Aaron Jones. I actually don't hate Craig Reynolds as a desperation play, but I wouldn't be expecting, all this is to say is I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is suddenly going to become this every down bell cow that I think he could handle. I would love to see it. I mean, if he did, he'd be a top 3 running back in fantasy, honestly. That's how valuable this backfield is, how great that line is. I still think it's going to be a bit of that. And then Pacheco, questionable. He is expected to play. A little bit riskier. What if that thing gets flared up today? It hasn't been that juicy of a situation regardless. Really nothing on the Chiefs has other than Kelsey and a little bit of Mahomes. So you don't have to go to Pacheco. It's nice that he's in there for you. But he's right around like my running back 23, 24. I'm 4 spots below the ECR on him. I have James Conner higher. Javonte Williams, I'm going to bump actually above Pacheco. I just don't feel good about Pacheco. So he's kind of going down my rankings right now. I'd go below Javonte. So running back 23, he slides into for me 4 spots below the ECR on Pacheco. And then moving on, Dennis Allen announcing that Jamaal Williams is going to take some time to recover. Promptly from there, moves to the IR, so at least 4 games out for Jamaal. Yes, Alvin Kamara is coming back next week, but this is going to be a spot for Kendre Miller. 4,300 on DraftKings. I think he's going to. I mean, you wrote about him. What are your thoughts? How do you think Kendre Miller is going to do today, CJ?
I think I would wait. I don't love him as a player. I think he's a baller, but I just don't trust him right now. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen in that backfield. So it's like I can just see like gross Tony Jones like stealing a touchdown or 2. But
yeah, and Taysom Hill's always. I really like Taysom Hill actually today.
Yeah, I would. If I'm super desperate, of course, he's not the worst option, but I would stay away this week.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I'm playing Tank Dell over Kendre Miller. I'm very excited to see what he does. Could he have 20 carries, over 100 and a touchdown? Absolutely. 4,300 on DraftKings is very tempting for Kendre Miller. I'm also very tempted by 3,300 Taysom Hill at tight end. I think he runs in at least a touchdown today. But at minimum, we're going to have that big back roll up for grabs now, and he should easily outplay Tony Jones, one of the worst starting NFL backs. So Kendre Miller, 33% roster. He's probably gone in your league, but if not, definitely text us right now. Put it in the chat if you have who should I drop for Kendre Miller? Probably a lot of people. So I would definitely go check that one out. Kenneth Gainwell is back, full participant in Friday's practice, expected to play on Monday. Very interesting thing to monitor. How is that backfield going to be distributed? Most are expecting a committee. I think it's going to be the DeAndre Swift show. He's running back 15 for me. I think he was just that damn good, that much better than Kenny Gainwell. So even if it starts as a committee, how could they not go to Swift? And that is the risk, because I think Swift got better as he was fed. Like most running backs, they get in that rhythm and they can finally roll. 28 carries, 175 and a touchdown last time out for Swift. How could the coaches not recognize how much better he is? I get Gainwell reliable, moves the chains, all that, but I think this is the Swift show moving forward. But it will be one of the things to monitor with him back. Colts did release Deion Jackson and promptly signed Trey Sermon. I don't know if DiLorenzo's watching, his absolute savior over there. Trey Sermon. all the more reason to like Zach Moss this week. Now, I don't love Zach Moss. I'm about 4 spots below the ECR just because, one, it's Zach Moss. But he did play 100% of the snaps last week, 98% of the rushes of the running backs. Scored, really paid off. He had 4,700 on DraftKings last week, paid off big time. But I think this is a much different Ravens front seven. We talked about Minshew earlier. I think the Ravens front seven, very, very solid. Secondary, very banged up. No Marlon Humphrey. The safeties are out. So I think Minshew and through the air and quick passes to Michael Pittman is how this game ends up getting attacked. And that Zach Moss yet maybe gets you to 7-8 fantasy points. If he falls in the end zone, it's a good day. I don't trust him at all. What do you think of Zach Moss? I've got a lot of questions on him, CJ. It's not for me.
I hate him so much.
Yeah.
These things. Yeah, I mean, another guy that's like, okay, you can find. I mean, him playing 100% of the snaps last week was unbelievable. But and it's only him and Christian McCaffrey this year. But yeah, I don't love him. I think he's horrible as a player, but the touches will be there, the volume will be there. So if you do need it as a streamer, as a flex, I feel fine with that.
Yeah, I'd rather have, for example, Jerome Ford. That's the next running back note. Kareem Hunt's going to play. And I do worry a little bit about the Kareem Hunt signing. Once I saw it was for $4 million, I was like, oh, that's a little bit of this running back market. That's a decent chunk of change to pay, particularly just a pure backup. I still think Ford's the guy. I think Ford is especially the receiving guy. And if you're going to attack Tennessee at all with your running back, it's probably through the pass. But I do worry Hunt is going to mix in for goal line work throughout the rest of the season. He did that anyways with Nick Chubb. So I mean, if you're taking Nick Chubb out of the goal line for Kareem Hunt, you're probably going to take the 5'10" Jerome Ford out as well. So I'm a little bit nervous about Jerome Ford today. The Titans defense that just stifled Josh Kelly. Obviously, Jamaal Williams did nothing against him. But that dates back, and you might be like, oh, Wolf, two big names, Josh Kelly and Jamaal Williams. I can trust Jerome Ford. Who gives a shit that those guys got shut down? But ultimately, dates back to all the years that Vrabel's been there. With the Titans, they have consistently been a top 5 run defense. So I don't like to trust Jerome Ford if I don't have to this week, but I would play him above Zach Moss. I'd play him, above Gus Edwards, who Justice Hill is out, and it probably should be the Gus Edwards show, but Melvin Gordon will get the call up. They signed Kenyon Drake, who's always impressed when he's used there. So I like Gus Edwards as well, but I would rather have Jerome Ford than those guys. But he's also only my running back 26 too. So just keeping that in mind, not a must start for me. Let us know if you have Jerome Ford, Gus Edwards. I imagine we'll probably get a good amount of questions about like Moss, Edwards, Jerome Ford. I've gotten a lot of questions on Twitter about those guys throughout the week. Sullivan Ahmed is out today, so that's huge for Raheem Mostert, which is crazy that is huge, but it is. We saw when he got knocked out of that Pats game, Raheem Mostert went bananas. He played nearly every single snap. Only 4 went to Devon Achane, and I think Achane will be more involved today now that they really have a week to scheme, and I'm excited. He's one of those guys only 34% rostered. I'd rather have Kendre Miller on my team, but I'd also love to have Achane and see what he does on my bench. Certainly not trusting him, but I do think we'll get a little bit more work out of him today. Even still, Raheem Mostert, a must start at this point, top 20 running back in my rankings after going for 20 fantasy points against the Patriots. Broncos, not a great run D, just not a great defense outside of Pat Surtain. I think that this is a great Mostert spot. And then Cam Akers more likely out is what the last report was I saw. He's probably officially inactive. I don't know quite yet. I haven't seen that report, but he's likely out. That was the meatiest news section. We'll rip through these receivers real quick. Reynolds and St. Brown are both are they officially active today, CJ? They were both expected to play, but questionable.
Yeah, they're both in.
Yep. So I think both make good fantasy plays. Obviously, St. Brown, top 5 play. I think Reynolds, if you're desperate to stream, it could be a good one. St. Brown's matchup out of the slot is one of the best of all receivers this week. You don't need any extra encouragement to start him, but even though he's a little banged up, if you're on the fence, you got to play St. Brown no matter what. And in DFS, a lot of people might be off him because of the injury. I think he makes a great play. Puka Nacua back to practice on Friday. He's going to play, and my God, you can't bench him at this point. 20 targets last week. It is just an absurd role. Jaylen Wadle with that concussion is officially ruled out. Braxton Berrios, River Craycroft. I mean, desperation, 3,500 guys on DraftKings. I'd rather go to Tank Dell, Jaden Reed at just a couple $100 more. But, man, if you're in those 16-team leagues and absolutely desperate, you can take a shot on maybe those guys. DK Metcalf was questionable. He's expected to play today. And in a great spot against a Carolina team with no J.C. Horn. I saw something about his corner being 6 inches smaller. And a lot of corners are smaller than DK Metcalf, but in particular, this week's even better. So I could see a big DK Metcalf day to day. He's really viable for a blow up any given week. Christian Watson is officially out today. So Jaden Reed, that much better of a streamer. Romeo Dobbs becomes a little bit more intriguing as well as a potential fill in there. Actually, so CJ, now that Watson's out, I'm going to put Tank Dell in the wide receiver 3 spot. Now that the flex gets opened up for Dobbs versus Kendre Miller. Is this where the Kendre Miller line gets drawn? I'm trying to help people kind of
I think I'd go Kendre there. I'm not a huge Dobbs fan.
No, he had those 2 touchdowns in week 1, but then really disappeared on me the next week.
Yeah, I think he kind of sucks. I'm gonna go Kendre there over him.
I might too. That's something I'm gonna have to sift through before these 1 o'clock hit. So let me know what you guys think if anybody wants to weigh in on that. Kendre Miller versus Romeo Dobbs. What you guys think for my plug-in there? Intriguing. Jakobi Meyers is good to go. Last time out, he had more targets than Devontae Adams. 38% target share, 81 yards, a score, 9 catches on those looks. So I absolutely fire back up Jakobi Meyers, a top 35 receiver for me, no doubt about it. Steelers are nothing scary on the secondary, at least. Amari Cooper off the injury report. As mentioned, one of our sit starts earlier we got. I love him against the Titans defense. They give up a ton of points to wide receivers. Second most this year, second most last year. It's routinely a pass funnel defense. Brandon Cooks off the injury report. I don't think you play him, but just nice to see him back on the field. I think he adds a good element to this offense, but tough to trust even against the lowly Cardinals. I think they're just going to be pounding Tony Pollard all day. It's going to be like a Tony Pollard, 35-point day, I think. I'm all in on him this week. Hard to do, Wolf. But yeah, Tony Pollard just he's one we knocked out of the park. I had him as like a top 7 guy. What'd you say?
So we're at 12-10 with 100 questions.
Yeah, I know. We'll rip through it. There's only a couple last notes. Odell Beckham's out. You weren't playing him, but Zay Flowers definitely even more secure this week. Nelson Aguilar and Bateman might now get some more burn. I don't think you trust either of those, but this is such a bad secondary that if you're desperate, I do think you could maybe look at Bateman, who played the immediate fill-in there. He has talent, so he's actually kind of intriguing out there in a ton of waiver wires at this point. I kind of don't mind stashing him. Could see him claiming a role with Beckham out. Tony, questionable. Doesn't matter. He sucks. He potentially droppable at this point. And then Marvin Mims. Playing time will be dictated by game flow and personnel groupings. Not what you really want to hear. You'd hope Sean Payton says, yeah, after that blow up last week, we want to get him more involved. He was only in on 16% of the routes and had 100 yards and a touchdown and almost had a second. I really like Marvin Mims. I think this kid's explosive, but until we can feel good about his playing time, tough to have him in lineups, but definitely should be on rosters at this point. And the last tight end news, only 2 quick notes. Dawson Knox is practicing in full. He's expected to play. We thought we might get the Kincaid show. Not going to be the case, and Logan Thomas is ruled out defensively. Greg Newsom is out for the Titans, so or rather for the Browns against the Titans. So maybe more reason to feel okay about DeAndre Hopkins. Jair Alexander, as we talked about, was ruled out, so that definitely helps out Olave and everybody else. Not that Olave needed any help, but man, that helps him out. And then Darisaw and is off the injury report. That definitely helps out this Vikings team and keeps that shootout. Maybe he's got Joey Bosa, so tough matchup. But ultimately, so much better that he's in, more neutralizing factor to Joey Bosa than if he was out. Joey Bosa would probably have 5 sacks today. Alrighty, that does wrap up all the news I had. We'll definitely keep our eyes out there for any other inactives, actives, all that good stuff. Last week, right as we signed off, Kyren Williams got that huge bump because Cam Akers was suddenly ruled out. So Jay Glazer's probably going to drop some bomb at us at 12:50. So definitely keep peeled. Make sure you're tracking that stuff, and we will have our eyes out too. Let us know in the chat if anything crazy pops up in your end. But let's pull in Mr. Campanelli before we mow through the rest of this mailbag. What's going on, brother?
Let's just make this quick, guys, because you have a lot to get through.
We sure do.
Do you bench Mixon or Cook for Kelly?
I don't think so. James Cook versus Kelly's an interesting one. I think I still ride those other 2 boys. I mean, Mixon also gets tricky because Burrow and how good is this offense going to be? But if Burrow's out, they definitely will lean on the run. I saw a stat about how the Rams are giving up the most yards before contact. They're getting blown off the ball, despite Aaron Donald being there. More of a pass rushing presence at this point. So I kind of like Mixon to have a big rebound game and then having to lean on the run on Monday, regardless of how that situation goes. I know he hasn't been anything special, but he's still playing 80% of the snaps, 75% of the touches. So I'm gonna stick with Mixon, and I'll probably stick with Cook as just the higher floor here, even though Kelly does have a big ceiling this week. That's a tough call. I'm gonna go Cook and Mixon, but what do you think, CJ?
Yeah, I think so. That it is between Cook and Kelly for me, but I think we'll stay with what you have.
Sounds
Yeah.
great, guys. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for the call in, Campanelli. Great to see you as always. Happy Sunday, man.
And
Alrighty.
then there are two things I just saw on Twitter quickly, and then we can look through these quick. Nick Underhill said, "Let me just answer every DM I have in my inbox. Yes, I think Kendra will get a lot of carries, and yes, I think he's good." So,
and I love Underhill. He's the man. So like
yeah,
that's
and then also Tom Pelissero said Jahmyr Gibbs is expected to receive the bulk of the work today with Montgomery out.
I mean, yeah, that's a really intriguing thing. So if he's going to get the bulk of the work, like we knew he'd be involved as a receiver, he already has been. Let's say he's mixing in as like an every down back. I would rank him running back 4 behind Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, and Christian McCaffrey, like over Josh Jacobs, over Derrick Henry. I still am in a little bit more of like a wait and see for that, but like you're playing Gibbs regardless. It doesn't really matter. So we don't have to like pick hairs here. He's for me with that report gets above Kenneth Walker, above Travis Etienne. He already was above Joe Mixon and Kyron for me. So yeah, I mean, wheels up. Running back 6 now, Jahmyr Gibbs, and 6,600 on DraftKings, probably going to become chalk with that news, and that's in.
All right. So yeah, that's all I saw for some notes. And it looks like the Patriots-Jets game is the only game that's really affected by weather. Everything else.
That's great to see as well. Absolutely.
All right, so Brent Australia, should I start Zay Flowers in the tropical storm, which I don't think is happening, or Pacheco is the safe floor?
Yeah, can you just double check on that? Because I've seen a couple things about this, like storm with Washington and Buffalo, as well as Indy and the Colts and the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that neither of them were like that scary. And either way, like even if it is a tropical storm, I'm going Zay Flowers over Pacheco. Like, Pacheco doesn't have a safe floor. He's got a hammy. What if that flares up? Safe floor is a 3-headed nightmare. Like, give me Zay Flowers with no Odell already, just the clear-cut number 1 against the worst secondary in the league. I'm all in on Zay Flowers today. So yeah, that's an easy one for me, even with the storm. But let us know, Campanelli, CJay, chat.
Yeah, so it says scattered showers, possibly early, worse, coming before kickoff. A 2 out of 10 impact fantasy-wise.
Oh yeah, come on now. Yeah, then we're wheels up there. Absolutely targeting that game.
Elias, pick 2 of these. Chase Olave, Kyron Williams. Oh boy.
I would. Yeah, this is tough. I'm benching Chase here. I mean, these are going to be the famous last words, but Chase has done nothing even with Burrow. He has to go to a backup. I'm worried there too. I'm going Olave and Kyron. They're just safer with like similar ceilings. I know Chase, nobody matches his ceiling other than maybe Justin Jefferson. But I don't know. That's going to be one of those ones though. Like it's Monday Night Football, prime time. We're all watching, and Chase just goes for like 55 points. Like that could definitely happen. But honestly, of these 3, I bench Chase myself. What about you, CJay? Who do you bench of these?
I'm staying out of this Chase conversation.
Which one do you bench then?
Probably Olave or Kyron.
How crazy that Kyron Williams is like above Chase or Olave potentially at this point of the year. My God.
People forget we were on Kyron Williams very early last year. Or was the year too early?
I was on him all this offseason. I have him in like 20% of best ball. Like me and Mo in our sleeper episode, he was my Hail Mary deep sleeper.
Yeah. And last year
I was on Kyron Williams. I have him in all my leagues at this point. And that kind of segues nice into Dave Mock. How do I feel? The significance? I think you're trying to be a wise ass. Maybe you're jealous, Dave, because you have Cooper Kupp and I have Puka just going off all over everybody right now. I have Kyron Williams going off against everybody. I paid, $76 for those 2 guys. That's $76 I've ever spent. I've got a top 10 rest of season running back. Puka, even when Kupp comes back, I don't think he's going to be worse than a top 24 guy. I think it's extremely significant, especially because I'm dealing with injuries to Ekeler and Saquon. Those guys have kept me afloat. Those guys, not even afloat, they've made me as a high scorer last week because of those 2. So, yeah, I think I am very happy to spend all my week 1 fab. And I think it's a good reminder that, like, there's very rarely more meaningful waiver wires and fab budgets than in week 1. That's, like, one of the biggest, clearest, like, so much new data comes in and you have to pick out which data points to react to the most. And to me, the Rams seem like the clear cut, like this is going to be important. Now, did I expect Akers to just get traded away and Kyron to completely blow up? Not necessarily, but he played 26 snaps compared to 4. for Akers in the first half. So it was clearly like it was already trending to him anyways. So yeah, I have no problem with the fab I spent. In fact, I'm genuinely like proud. I tweeted about it this weekend. I was like, my wife says we got to manage our money better if we're gonna ever afford a house. And I proudly showed her Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams waiver wire pickups, and I think it was a great move. I have no issue. Obviously it does set you up to have to really be on top of things. You have to be ahead on Sundays. Get your guys before the rush happens. I got Kendre Miller, on my bench with no waiver wire money spent. So I'm confident in my ability to pick those guys up. I feel great about it. I know a long-winded answer there, but F you, Dave.
And Dave, again, Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields?
So Kirk Cousins is the play. You got to target that game. I did talk about Justin Fields rebounding for sure. And Dave, you think I'd ever forget your Cusco Bistro order? Large vanilla base, granola, either strawberry or raspberry. Sometimes you might have switched it off. Cheesecakes mixed in there too. I think it was strawberry that you went more often than raspberry, but occasionally you might have tossed in a raspberry mix in as well. But granola or it's graham cracker, vanilla base, cheesecake, and a fruit. So of course I remember your Cusco order. So toss in that super chat, baby.
And would you go? I would go Cousins over Fields today.
Oh yeah, I said Cousins definitely. That game is the game of the week. You got to have pieces of that.
And then Chris, what's good, Wolf? I did this last year, so I might as well do it again this year. 12-team PPR. Blah, blah, blah. I think he's just.
I don't know what that's asking. It sounds great. I think you're just telling us your team, and honestly, it's a phenomenal team. And I also love Zay Flowers today. But Chris, I don't know what the question is there, so let us know if there is a question. But that squad is stacked.
So,
you did a good job.
Juan Pena, Aaron Jones is out, so should he put Dalvin Cook, Warren, or Kenny Gainwell? I did see Warren is expected to have a more significant role today, so I'd go Warren.
He's already played 58% of the snaps. I mean, I'd rather 58 for what's his name, Najee, the slug, and 40% for Warren so far this year. He never topped 35 last year, so he's already had a more significant role. He's looked great. The Raiders are very susceptible to running backs right now, and ultimately even more so to running backs as receivers. So, yeah, I actually kind of like Jaylen Warren as a streamer. I was high initially on Najee this week, but I'm going to start bumping him down at least below like James Conner, despite that tough Dallas matchup. He's the engine there. So yeah, I go Warren here of these options. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's what I said initially. I'm good with him.
Yeah.
Juan Pena, Hunter Henry, or Knox? I'm going Hunter Henry myself.
Yeah, I go Hunter Henry, no doubt about that. We did have a super chat come in from our one of our super fans, one of the best fans out there, Mitch Chavez. Absolutely love you, Mitch. And so Texas Hustler tossed us another $2. Sorry, Hustler. I didn't see that one come in. Campanelli, where are you? You moderating this thing or what?
Yeah, he sent me a text. He just sent it.
Okay, he said it. Okay, never mind. So yeah. Did we get the super? You said the private chat. That's where I can actually see it. I'm not checking my phone at all. I'm kidding. Kevin, you're the man.
So Chavez, $5 super chat. Thank you. Start Cousins or Allen? What are we doing?
Cousins or Allen? I would go Josh Allen. I do think the weather's getting a little bit overblown, and it ended up being nothing there. As good as that shootout style game is going to be, it's Josh Allen. And he looked great. This offense looked great. They rebounded, and now they get a defense that just gave up 35 points to Russell freaking Wilson. So I like that game to blow up today. So I'm going to Allen there. What about you, CJay?
Yeah, of course. I'm going Josh Allen. And then Pacheco or Kelly? Got to go Kelly there.
Kelly. Definitely Kelly there, Mitch. Absolutely. Get people in that game. No doubt about it. So let's see. Can we find Texas Hustler, double super chat. Thank you so much. We were looking for your question, Texas. We said it a couple times.
Yeah, I got it.
Found it now.
Madison, Ford, Moss, Edwards need 2 of these.
I would probably go Ford, and I mean they're all in that like running back 25 to 30 range. I have all these guys.
This is just like a group of plotters. Like that's so gross.
It's hard. That's a tough one. I'm probably gonna go Ford, and I guess Madison. Like I've gotten higher on Madison as the week went. Now that Cam Akers isn't active, this is kind of his like, can I earn this role or not type of game. So I bumped Madison up as the week's gone on. Famous last words. I mean, he looked so bad last week, but Chargers have been a really bad defense all over, including against the run. I just think he has, of all these guys, the best shot at a score.
Actually,
So I'm going to go Madison and Ford.
Gus with Justice Hill out.
Yeah, but they just always ride a committee, and he scored last week too. I do think the Colts is just like that's another pretty clear pass funnel where they have a pretty good front seven. Buckner right up there in the middle, one of the biggest bodies in the NFL to try to block. And Gus is just a plotter too. So I had Gus higher than Madison coming into this Sunday show, but I just feel like I've kind of changed my tune a little bit on Madison this week. I have him a spot high. This is how my rankings go. You ready? I just looked at it to see. Jerome Ford 25, Alexander Madison 26, Gus Edwards 27, Zach Moss 28. Literally, those four are in the exact order of that. So that's how I have him ranked out. Hustler. Clearly, they are all so close to each other that it's really tough. But I would go Ford and Madison myself.
And then need two of these: Flowers, Puka, Higgins, Dell.
I would go Puka 100%. And then Higgins versus Flowers is actually kind of tricky now with Joe Burrow's situation, but coming off 2 touchdowns last week, it's tough to sit T Higgins right now, right? Like over Flowers. I mean, I love Flowers this week. I really do. What do you think? Puka's the clear lock for me. What do you think of the Higgins versus Flowers? I love Tank Dell, but he's not part of that conversation.
Yeah, I think I'm going T with Puka.
You going T over Puka?
T
I think I am over Puka. You mean or Flowers?
No, with Puka.
With Puka. Okay, I was gonna say over Puka. Come on now. Yeah, I mean, I had T 18, Flowers 20. It's so close. If you told me Burrow's out or very limited, I'd probably flip those two. Flowers honestly feels maybe even a little safer. Oh man, that's tough. That's really tough, Texas. I'm gonna say go T. I think Burrow plays and that secondary is not good for the Rams. We saw them, the 49ers just mowing down the field on them. So I'm going to go T. He had too big of a game last week, even though there's a little bit of added risk with the Burrow situation. I'm going to go T. Again, only 2 spots above Flowers, but that's where I'm rolling.
All right, you need to rip these by yourself. It's only 20 minutes and about a million questions.
All right, well, I got to pull up a few and start talking about a few because I got to put a rankings update through. So.
All right, so Juan Pena for my second league, my receiver 2 spot, Lockett, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, Jakobi Meyers. He already has Justin Jefferson and Connor in the flex. I'd go Mike Williams. I want a piece of that shootout.
Yeah, I go Mike Williams. It's only one option there. I'm going Mike Williams, absolutely.
And then we have another super chat from Kristen Mann. Pick a flex option. Pacheco, Dotson, Breece Hall, Jaylen Warren, Robert Woods, Ertz. Are you sticking with your boy Dotson?
I think so. I mean, one sec. I'm just putting the rankings through. I want to make sure I can read the super chat, especially if you guys are taking time to support us. I mean, Breece gets interesting, but until only 4 touches last week, that becomes a much bigger risk. Don't love Pacheco with the hamstring thing. Yeah, I think I'm going back to the Dotson well. And if he doesn't do it this time, maybe it's the last time I ever say that. But I think, he had 5 targets on the first drive last week. It looked like he was going to be a monster in that game. And then I don't know exactly what happened. It just got completely taken out of the game. But they're going to need points. They're going to have to be chasing points all day with the Bills. I think this is a Dotson coming out party. I really do. I feel good about Dotson this week, Kristen. Thank you so much.
I'm going Dotson, and then Jaylen Warren's probably my second option.
So many generous super chats today, guys. This has been maybe a record set. We had that one week where Chillin sent us $50. So maybe we haven't broken the exact record yet, but this is very, very generous, guys. It's so greatly appreciated. It makes, we put a lot of time into this. So when you guys support your boys like this, it really just validates and makes us feel, it really just supports the site. It helps us pay our writers. It does so much for us. So thank you guys so much for your generosity today. All righty. I'm just kind of copying the code, putting it in the rankings, and then I'll be good.
Teen starting running backs are Joshua Kelly and Kyron Williams. For flex, should you use Swift, Ford, or Najee? You going back to Swift?
We are at all right, Teen. There you are. Yep. I go Kyron Williams for sure. And then I go I would go Swift over Kelly, I think. Or I guess Kelly's a little bit safer because he's the clear cut, every down back in a good shootout environment, whereas Swift, we have a few more questions about. So I guess if I'm staring at a decision myself, I would probably go Josh Kelly, but Swift could definitely have the higher ceiling today. So it's flex anyways. So yeah, so I go Kyron, Kelly, and DeAndre Swift there. Yes. Yes.
And then another super chat, Matt B, Flowers or Cooper, and then Schultz or Taysom at tight end.
Thank you very much for the support, Matt B. Regularly been a super chatter here. I would go. Oh man, I have Cooper 20, Flowers 21. But I am flipping those because I do feel just really, really good about Flowers today. So I'm going to go Flowers there, and I would go Taysom Hill definitely over Dalton Schultz. What's the upside here? 5 targets, 3 catches for 25 yards. Hill might run in 2 touchdowns today. We've seen him have 30-point days. So when we're just kind of mixing around and rolling around the mud and the tight end shit, like give me Taysom Hill and the upside there. So
Yeah.
I'm going Taysom Hill big time, and then Zay Flowers over Cooper real close. What do you think about Flowers versus Cooper?
No, I'm right there with you. Fatty Mateo 0-2. Is that a must win yet? Full PPR. Sit one of these Brees, Kyron, Madison, Pook. I'm sitting.
So
Brees
I'm
myself.
updating the rankings while I'm eating this donut. It's taking a while because we're live streaming. Could you read the options to me one more time, CJ?
Sit one of these Brees, Kyron, or Madison. I'm not gonna tell you.
I can't find it. Brees, Kyron, or Madison? Yeah, sit one.
Sit one.
Probably Brees for now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Brees. Just like the workloads, only 4 touches last week. Yeah, I'm going to sit Brees there. It must win. You got to go with Madison for now. He's going to get at least 15 touches in a shootout style game. I don't love it. I like the talent of Brees better, but until we see this coaching staff have an actual brain, it's tough to trust him. So, yeah.
Then we have an absolute banger of a sticker. Thank you very much, Jeff Lee.
Oh, man, Jeff Lee. You are an absolute legend. Absolute legend, Jeff Lee. Wow. Do you have any questions attached to that? Like, please do let us know. It looks like Campanelli's, I don't know, going nuts over there. So,
I got it.
We'll find Jeff Lee's question for sure.
I got it. Receivers pick 3 of these: Addison, Ridley, Flowers, Pickens. So sit one.
Jeff, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Now it is officially the highest paid day ever. You guys are the best. Thank you again so much for your support of the site. This is just humbling.
Sit one of these receivers: Addison, Ridley, Flowers, Pickens.
I gotta sit Pickens here. And I love him this week. That's so you got yourself quite the receiving core. To me, Addison in that shootout game, he scored 2 touchdowns back-to-back weeks. They're going to need points. They're going to be slinging. You can't bench Calvin Ridley ever. And I love Zay Flowers, the Indy secondary. We've said it many times on this show. The definition of a pass funnel defense. So to me, the lowest floor and ceiling to me feels like George Pickens, who we've seen disappear. I love what we saw on Monday night. I love the 10 targets. I love that he looked great. I like the higher percentage targets he was getting to. I'm all about George Pickens for most lineups, but Jeff, your receivers are just too good. I mentioned Pickens of these 3. To me, what about you, CJ? How do you sift through that?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of myself. I mean, Pickens did blow up last week, but he is just so like boomer bust where I feel more comfortable with Flowers.
What about Addison? Like to me, Ridley and Flowers are the locks.
He's a lock.
Yeah, he's your boy. I knew you were going to go against him, and in this shootout style atmosphere.
And then he also has another question. Could you see Ty Chandler taking over the Vikings backfield with Madison and Akers because they suck?
I don't think they would have traded for Akers to let him ultimately take over. To let Ty Chandler. I think Ty Chandler's done here. I think he's probably better than all of these guys. But man, I would rather have Akers than Chandler, I think. Because I don't buy that Akers completely sucks. I mean, he ripped off 4 straight 100-yard games last year to end the season. He was the running back 6 in fantasy over that span. We've seen some juice out of Akers before, and just because he was in the doghouse all Sean McVay's tenure, I don't buy that. No. So yeah, I like that.
McVay hates him. Huh?
He does. He's always kind of been that guy that like takes his stances on players and has bad doghouse. It's kind of like Kyle Shanahan-y in a way like that. The other thing I will mention too about the Jordan Addison question, he did only run 78% of the routes, whereas KJ Osborne got all of them. I think that flips this week. I think especially in a game where it's like must win, need points. I think Addison ends up playing more snaps than Osborne, and this continues to flip in his favor. Either way, I love him. I just love that game. That game is going to be so fun. And I think we get a long bomb for him. It looks like we had a couple other super chats too. So yeah, Wolfpack, we promise that we'll hit every single question on a day like today where you guys, and this is, you guys are so damn generous, but like I want to take my time on super chats. I'm going to go till 12:45 with a big rip afterwards. If we don't get to you, we don't get to you, but I have Watson in 4 lineups. I have DFS I got to get in. So at 12:45, I'm off hard. So if you want a guaranteed answer and you want me to think it through, really talk it through with you, super chat's really going to be the only way at this point. I'll try my best to get through everything in a rapid fire in a second, but we're going to hit these super chats real quick. Elijah Moore or Gabe Davis for Giuseppe. I got to go Gabe Davis, right? CJ, we're both on daddy.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like I said, I think 35 points to the Broncos and Russ Wilson last week. That Commanders defense is not that good. And then Reed, White, or Kendre Miller. It comes down to White or Reed for me. In his full PPR, I'm going to go Jaden Reed. I really like him as a stream this week. Rashad White, it's tough to bench coming off like a 20-point day, but that was against the Bears, one of the worst teams in the league. Philly is brutal against the run, one of the toughest run fronts. They haven't given up 8 catches to running backs. It's volume. What do you think, Reed versus White? I got to think this one through, CJ.
I would, as I usually say, I usually go with the running backs. I'm going to go Rashad White.
A lot of dump offs could come to White. I don't know. I feel a good Reed day, though. I do feel a good Reed day. I'm going to go Jaden Reed. I'm sticking that one out there. And we got a super sticker from Mark Gonzo. I don't know if there's
I got the question right here.
You got the question. Okay. Thank you so much, Gonzo.
Joku or Otten, and then Warren or Pierce.
All right. Where is it, CJ? I'm trying to find it.
It's already up.
Oh, here it is. Njoku or Otten. I would go Njoku. That Tennessee defense, bad pass funnel. Otten, he is my Hail Mary. You must have watched the show this week, Mark. He is my Hail Mary tight end besides Taysom Hill. And I love Taysom Hill. In fact, I'd probably go Taysom Hill over either of these two guys for the record. And I know CJ's probably puking in his mouth as I say that he's not a Taysom guy, but I think this week just sets up for a Taysom touchdown. But of those two, Njoku, he's still been involved. All that training camp hype. He's an athlete, and he gets a good matchup here. So at tight end, I'm just going to go with the player. I'm going to go with Njoku and hope that he gets peppered by Watson in a pass funnel matchup. Warren or Dameon Pierce? That's a tough one.
I kind of like Warren here.
I think I am too, and I don't think my rankings reflect that. So that's another one I'm going to have to update my rankings for. I just don't want anything to do with Dameon Pierce. With no receiving volume, not really getting goal line work either. 45% of the snaps. It just is nothing that we expected from what his preseason usage was. And another reminder, maybe we should not overreact to preseason usage because it was looking like he was going to be a 3-down back and an ascending offense. So, yeah, I'm bumping up. Actually, you know what? I already had Jaylen Warren above Dameon Pierce. So, we're going to keep it that way. I'm going Jaylen Warren there. And I got to go cheesesteak, just more like lobster roll seasonal.
Yeah,
whereas cheesesteak is
all the
all
summer, cheesesteak all year round.
Yeah, exactly. In the summer, absolutely lobster roll, and it's 10 out of 10, the best thing you can eat. But rest of the year, it's cheesesteak. So if it's one or the other, I have to eliminate one the rest of my life. I'd eliminate the cheesesteak. The most important part of that question.
And then,
all right, any other super chats to clean up before a rapid fire here?
I think we're good. So we're back at 10:37 a.m. Fatty Mateo, you just rip yourself.
Okay, I'll rip it. What time was it, CJ, that you said?
10:37. I have it on the screen.
10:37. I'm just scrolling up. Okay, Fatty Mateo. And then CJ, just keep your eyes peeled again. At this point, Wolfpack, I'm going to rapid fire. If you want a in-depth answer, you want to make sure it gets answered because I'm signing off. Hard stop in 10 minutes. So I'm going to go through as many as I can. You want a guaranteed answer, definitely please consider sending a super chat. Be happy to do that. I'm going to get as many questions now as I can in 10 minutes. One last call for thumbs up as well, helping us get out to more people. What a great show. Thank you again so much. Can't thank you enough for your generosity. It's so greatly appreciated, guys. And Jeff Lee, especially that $50 super chat. My God. Thank you so much. All righty, Fatty Mateo. I am going DK, and I'm going Garrett there. Can't trust Hollywood. And I love Tank. So if you didn't want Garrett, you want to bench Tank, play Tank instead, I get it. But I personally would side with the talent there. Full PPR for David Atwell, Dotson, Dobbs, Roschon. I'm going to go Dotson here for Campanelli. Like I said, I think this is a rebound game for him. And Stafford or Goff, I'm going to go Goff there at home. Very close, though. I mean, like 12 and 14 in my rankings today. Yo, fellas, what's up? No 2. PPR start 2. Hollywood, Elijah Moore, JSN, or Reynolds. I'm going to go Reynolds and Eli Moore. I am intrigued by Hollywood Brown moving forward. I thought Dobbs looked good, but I just think this is another one of those days where the Cardinals, the Cowboys defense just absolutely smothers them, and they might put up 0. No two. Javonte, Breece Hall, Josh Kelly. I would go Josh Kelly of those 3, no two. Charlie, level of concern for Cincy's? I'm concerned. If Burrow can or can't go, I'm concerned right now. I need him to get healthy before I feel really good. And then Gabe, Tank Dell, Jay Warren are flex options behind Higgins. You got to start your studs. I'm with you there. So I wouldn't go any of those guys. Davis is close, but I'd stick with T. Higgins there. Charlie. Tunes, Judy, Ford, Burks, or Dell. I'm going to go Ford and Dell there for you, Tunes. Love or Watson? Going Watson with the Tennessee matchup. Very rarely do I go Watson, but in that case, I will. Christian Watson's out, so Rashad White, JSN, Allen Robinson, or Dotson. That's hideous, Tunes. I'm going to go Dotson and Rashad White, though. The other two, Allen Robinson, come on. Mostert or James Cook? That's a good one, Mike Q. I'm going to go Cook, but man, like Mostert has the higher touchdown equity, probably the higher ceiling. I just feel the safer with James Cook. But yeah, that's close, Mike. Ertz or Everett? I'm going to go Ertz there, target share. Happy Sunday to you, Mike. Kirk or C. Watson? Watson's not playing, so Kirk. Let's get this dub. Geno or Fields? I'm going to go Fields. Like I said, I think he rebounds. And I'm going to go Musgrave over Pitts. Sanders or DJ Moore in the flex? I'm going DJ Moore, Mike. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, who should I flex? Aaron Jones is not playing, Giuseppe. So I don't like any of these guys. My God. I'd go Sky Moore, I guess, over all of them. But, man, that's gross. A.J. Brown or Devonta? I'm going to stick with A.J. Brown. I think this is his coming out party this week, Mike. How can you not have them both in? No, my God. Mostert definitely over Z Moss for me. I'm going to go Sanders over Mass. Maybe the first Sanders we've said. But I'm going to go Sanders there. Wolfie, great to be back with you, Chillin. Thank you again for that $10 super chat. So appreciated. Definitely K. Williams, Mike, over Connor. That jet sweep was one of the worst calls ever. Yeah, DJ Moore, DJ Johnson. I agree. Good morning, Denny Jennings. Picked up Jamison Williams for free. Absolutely worth stashing. Yeah, we see how that offense flows. So yes. Good morning, Bulldog. Great to see some legends here. Josh Kelly over Breece Hall. Yes, 100%. And I'd go Laporta over Ertz. Yes, definitely. Cider Donuts, always 12 out of 10. I agree, Charlie. They are so damn good. Jakobi, Sky Moore, K. Bourne, or Sutton at PPR. I'm going to go Jakobi Meyers there, Giuseppe. I feel great about him. Need a Richardson replacement for Bill Jagir in a full PPR flex. Too bold to consider James Cook instead of Ritter. No, honestly, that's not too bold. Ritter sucks. I probably still go quarterback, but Ritter blows. My fall flavor is venison, not donuts. Spoken like a true psycho hunter, Tunes. I love it. Good morning, fellas. Nico Collins or Christian Kirk for Jimmy Bridges. I'm going to go Nico Collins, number 5 receiver in fantasy scoring right now. Pick two half PPR, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, Sutton, or Jaden Reed. I would go DJ Moore and Christian Kirk there. Giuseppe. Jaden Reed, a close third. Need a wide receiver, running back, flex half PPR for DJ. Breece, Roshan. I'm going to go Breece over Roshan for the running back. I'm going Tank Dell over the rest of these receivers. And I'm going for the flex, Kendrick Bourne. Don't love it, but I just can't trust him. Looks like we did get a super chat in the middle of that. So what time was this last one at for the rapid fire?
I'll do the super chat right now. Matthew Murray, Kelly, Madison, White, or A.J. Dillon at running back, and then Woods or Dubs at receiver 3.
All righty. So we left off at 11 p.m. Thank you so much, Murray, for the super chat. Much appreciated, my man. I'm going to go Kelly, definitely at running back. The other guys all suck. None of these guys are really talented, so give me the guy in the best offense and the best game flow. That game looks awesome. So I'm going with that. And then man, that is puke. I would probably go Dobbs here, just given Watson's now out. We've seen him step up in the absence of him. So yeah, give me Dobbs over Woods. I know Woods, 9-10 targets. He's not actually as pukey as it might look, but I just think the more and more Tank Dell's getting involved there, the less and less we're going to see of the far less explosive Robert Woods, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. That's kind of where I lean my bets in that offense. So I'm going to go Dobbs. What do you think of those there, CJ? Probably Kelly, right? The easy call at running back.
Yeah, Kelly and Dobbs, even though it's gross.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you again. $10, a couple $10 super chats coming in today. A $50 super chat, multiple 5s, multiple 2s. I mean, what a generous Sunday for you guys. I wish I could get to every question today. I've got 5 more minutes, so I'm going to keep ripping through. And then your boy has to take care of his own lineups at some point. So let's go. It was at 11 a.m. we left off. with, let me find it here. Where was it? Okay, it was DJ Johnson. So Baldwin, Giuseppe wants some bets today. I don't know that we'll have time, Giuseppe, to get through all those. So we're hitting Anthony Nardella live from Beverly. Projected to get killed this week. Yeah, your team sucks. No, I know. Your team is actually pretty good, but losing Chubb was absolutely brutal, Twan. Do I take a chance on Taysom at tight end? So, I mean, you're projected to get killed. Like, Taysom does have a higher ceiling than Ingram. Ingram's one of the few tight ends I do have above Taysom at my tight end spot, and he has had 30-point days before the Texans blow. They're down with 3 of their starting 4 secondary members. So I still go Ingram myself, Twan, but man, like, you could go Taysom. Like, it's not without the realm of possibility. That's a tough one. I do go Ingram, while acknowledging that Taysom might have a higher ceiling. So, I go Ingram there, though. It just feels like a better combo of floor and similar ceiling. DJ Johnson, Dalvin, Roschon, or Hunt? Roschon, I guess. I think garbage time catching the ball. James Cook, Zay Flowers for Alvin. I'd rather have James Cook and Zay Flowers 110%, 909. I'd rather have James Cook than Alvin straight up. So never mind, Zay Flowers there. How do we feel about T. Higgins? He's fine. He's my wide receiver 18. We'll have to see. Tough to know. Holding on Dimes and Waller. I agree with you, Charlie. Yeah, hold. No reason to sell. And if you can buy for real cheap, go for it. Brian Fitz, happy Sunday. Sorry I missed you. We missed you, brother. Have Madison in a couple leagues. Is he worth a flex? Yeah, he's okay. Good volume in a great game environment today. So maybe, but he's just such a bad player. So I think you're just hoping for a touchdown, but he's fine there in that sense. We got Robert Moreno, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson. Definitely, I kind of like Brian Robinson actually more than him. I want to make sure my rankings reflect that. They don't. So I'm bumping Ramondre down. Even though it is a run funnel defense there, I'm gonna go Brian Robinson over him. Kev, go golf. I heard it's a great sport. Yes, indeed. Golf is great. Golf sucks. But Jared Goff, a good play today. Jeremiah Moore, let's get it. Start Gabe Davis. Oh, we answered that with a super chat. Gabe Davis for me. What's up, Mr. Trey Saracinco? Let's go. Starter sit Josh Jacobs. It depends what the other options are, but I'm still playing him. He's played nearly every snap and got nearly every touch, so I'm there. Good matchup. Pitt's giving up the most points to running backs. Pretty good run D that's kind of skewed by a big, long McCaffrey touchdown, but I still like him. Pickens, London, or McLaurin. I'm going Pickens there, Jair. You were in a hurry. No problem. Standard League, Flex, Javonte, Algier, Pierce, Dotson, or JSN. I'm going to go Javonte of those options, Aaron Cooley. Mr. Trey Saracinco. There is no Watson, so Eli Moore, Khalil Herbert, Sky Moore, Laporta, Roschon, Kendre Miller, or Tank Dell. I would go, Tank Dell for me. I'm just still firing him up myself. Let's go. Play Goff or hold out for Burrow. I would play Goff. We already answered that one earlier. And I would go James Cook for the flex. Frazier from Scotland. Love to see it. I think we answered this one. Sutton, Davis, or Pickens. So I'm benching Pickens there. Oh, no. Actually, maybe we didn't answer this one for Sarno. I'm benching. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we're benching Sutton. No doubt about it. And then Madison over Pierce. Both shitty backs, but one's in the better offense. Half PPR need 2. Garrett Wilson, Brees, Josh Kelly, James Cook, Ramondre. We're going James Cook. We're going Josh Kelly for the 2 running backs. And I'm flexing Ramondre. We're going those 3 running backs that they end the question with. Would you drop Deontay Johnson? No IR? Probably not, but it really depends what's out there. But I love Deontay when he comes back. 909, Josh Kelly or James Cook PPR. I'm going with James Cook, very slightly 909 orbits. What's up, Droid? Pick 2, Swift, Dylan, Kendre Miller, Zach Moss, or Jaylen Warren. I have Chubb out for the year. I would go Swift, and I would go, I guess Zach Moss here. Ride the volume, ride the snaps, but it's close between him and Jaylen Warren. PPR, Hubbard, Roschon, or Kendre Miller. I would go Kendre Miller there, Jim Pacheco. It is Taysom Hill. It is Taysom Hill today, baby. I actually think so. So he's talking about Tyreek Hill versus Taysom Hill. But yeah, otherwise you wouldn't be asking that. And right on cue, I would go Taysom Hill over Kincaid. Myself, Christian, Morning Jose, or Josie, rather. Need 2 receivers. Amon's playing. So Josh Reynolds, Sky Moore, Romeo Doubs, Traylon Burks. I would go Reynolds. I would just go with both of the Lions guys here. And then my next one up would be Dobbs. Commanders, I agree. I like the Commanders today. I really do. I'm a big fan of them in DFS. I think they're going to get it slept on. Now you guys are on the wrong side. Kelly or Ford? I would go Kelly definitely over Ford, Quinn. almost hate cut my entire team. I love it, Todd. We got to go James Cook. So 2 running backs in the flex. I'm going James Cook. I'm going Jerome Ford for the 2 running backs. And I'm going to go Pacheco at the flex, bench and Judy. And I'll go Njoku over Kincaid. Glee, D. Pierce or Khalil Herbert. I guess D. Pierce as the player, but yeah, it's ugly. No, I'd go Khalil Herbert and just hope that he catches like a big screen that he rips. Javonte, Algier, or Jaylen Warren. I'm going to go Javonte. Those, Sutton does blow. Oh, Josh, good to see you. I know you're on my Twitter a lot. Sutton does blow. Javonte or Jay Kelly. I'm going Jay Kelly there, Mike Clay. Roman, do you think Jaylen Warren is going to outplay? He could. He outplays him all the time. It just matters, does he outtouch him? And then Seattle D or Baltimore. Going Baltimore. And Love over Fields is going to be the last question for the day because it is 12:45, folks, and I'm signing off. I'm going Fields. I think he rebounds. I think there's a chance if you can somehow get him on the cheap, let's go for it. Wolfpack, thank you again so much for your generosity. It's the reason we're behind on questions because you guys really supported your boys. If every Sunday is like this, then maybe we'll never have to move to a Patreon or anything like that because you guys really stepped up. Your generosity means the world. It helps us pay our writers. It helps us keep the staff afloat. Helps us continue to do this because otherwise I'd be looking for a second job while I try to buy a house right now. So thank you again so much for all the support, all the generosity, for being here. Sorry if we did not get to your question. We'll try to be quicker next time. But again, super chats take priority. We want to be in depth. Best of luck in week 3. We'll be live with the truth. No Patriots game this week. So I will be live with the recap show, early waiver wire look, all that at 7:30 tonight. Until then, Wolfpack and a Wolf Fantasy Sheep, be the Wolf. Later, guys.
See ya.